All right. Shalom, family. Shalom, family. You know what I was going to tell you, True Royal? We got to get
Yes.
our roof. We got to get our roof replaced.
Oh,
And it's so far the lowest estimate we got was $17,000. I'm like, damn.
damn. Did the raccoons do it?
No, not this time around. No, it's just wear
No.
and tear. It's
Yeah.
it's just time
It's
for it.
years
Mhm.
and years. Lord, that's Lord.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's going to be
Wow.
painful, but we got to get it done.
Yo, Lord, have mercy.
Mhm.
Um,
So, y'all, we're gathered here today to talk about Donald Trump. Now, True
mhm.
Royal, one thing I can say, shalom to everybody, by the way, shalom. True Royal, one thing that I noticed when Donald Trump was fighting, I kept wondering why he was so angry at Harvard. And then,
Mhm.
and I would read some of the articles. I said, this actually sounds personal. I mean, did it sound like that to you?
Yeah, it was in the back of my mind because I was like, why is he going in so deep? And it's so much stuff going on. And,
You're breaking up. True
wait,
Roy.
just a second.
Okay.
Wait a second.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we we saw how strange it was when Donald Trump was going after these universities. And I said, there's got to be something to it. But I thought, because they've been screaming about DEI, DEI. Oh, you don't get rid of that. We ain't giving you federal funding. But one thing, Harvard and some of the other universities said they don't care what Donald Trump say. They're not getting rid of their DEI programs. They're keeping those programs and they're going to teach and it's part of their curriculum even this year. And they're not getting rid of it. But yeah.
Can you hear me, Lisa?
I can hear you.
Okay, because you're breaking up too.
Okay. All right. Let me turn it off and
make sure we get this together. Okay. So I hope I'm not breaking up anymore.
No, you're not.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, no, you were talking when, what were you saying?
Oh, what I was saying was it was on the back of my mind, but I was making a comment because you'll say we're gonna do current events. And I keep trying to come up with a different title. And I was like, I had like Trump's name in it, like some more Trump shit. It's like something every day with him. He crying and venting, having temper tantrums. He all over the damn place. Right. I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life. He make Nixon look like a damn preschooler.
Exactly.
And when it blindsided me today because I was over there on Don Lemon's. That's how I found out about it. And I immediately send it to you because behind the scenes you did say, what is going on with him with this Harvard stuff. But, you got me up to speed too because you were saying he wanted to be part of the board of directors with Harvard too as well. And it's like, why is he trying to do that? And you the damn president.
Right. Damn. That did not make sense.
No, it really didn't. But and some people are trying to debunk this thing about Barron. It all makes sense now with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
So what it looks like, y'all, is Barron applied for the top universities and he didn't get in. That's what it's looking like.
Juicy.
And Donald Trump is using his position to take it out on these universities. But see, one thing about Ivy League universities, they got a lot of millionaires and billionaires that back them up. Those people are on their board of directors. So that's why they can dig in and really fight with Donald Trump and not give in like some of the other schools did.
Okay, so Animal Addict said, why can't he get in?
Well, didn't Donald Trump said he wanted this to be a merit-based society? Right? So yes. If we're going on merit, then that means his son needs to get in there on merit, not just because he got the Trump name.
And I love the timing of this because the college scandal, like you said, it's even harder to even get in these colleges because of them.
Yes.
What they've been doing for years.
Yes, but they think they're not supposed to be rejected under any circumstance. But the college cheating scandal brought out one defining thing. It brought out how dumb these rich people's kids are.
And
kids are so dumb they got to pay top dollar to try to get them in schools.
Oh, hey, Taryn, how you doing?
How you doing, Taryn?
And then what I love also with this is it exposed the Asian community because they have always been talking about how smart they are and all of that. And they are some of the biggest cheaters. And remember, folks, when that college scandal happened, it was the Asians
and white people
in question. No, it was the Asians. I read a number of articles. They were complaining and wondering how we were getting in these top universities. So they go to the FBI, they do the investigation, and not a one of us was a part of that. And I don't care how much money black folks got. We ain't about to put if one of our kids ain't making the grade and spend millions of dollars, we ain't doing it.
No, so, I mean, we would have sense enough to know, okay, if my kid can't get into college, we need to look into other things they could possibly do. Or other type of school. Maybe they can't get in a university, but they can get in community college. We would look for alternatives.
Lisa, they can't even get in there.
Right. But see, Donald Trump is insisting that these universities take his son, even if he don't have the grades. Take him anyway, because he got the Trump name.
Okay, so answer this for me, Lisa. So say Barron did get in Harvard. Then what happens next?
He'll fail. He'll fail.
And then what? So I guess Trump want him to be in there, and then he gonna be in the on the board of directors, and then he gonna be bullying the professors just to give him a damn grade.
Well, he would also be bullying them to get rid of DEI. See, they said when Donald Trump asked to be on the board of directors, they rejected Donald Trump. See, that's another reason why he's pissed. You know, I guess when he approached them, I guess they were just supposed to say yes and just take Donald Trump and put him on the board of directors. And they said no.
Now, why did
Trump on there?
I know. Now, why did Trump say he wanted to be on the board of directors? Did he
Probably
have a reason?
So he can get his kids, and you never know, even some of his grandkids in there that really don't deserve to be there.
Yeah. So see, this is a good example of a merit-based system, right?
Yeah, but not according to what we're looking at. It has nothing to do with merit-based. It has everything to do with, you got to take my child, even if they don't cut it, you take them anyway. That's what it sounds like Donald Trump is doing.
Yeah. So when he don't get his way, then the next thing is, I guess he wanted
cut funding from the universities that wouldn't take Barron.
Well, what I'm liking is the pushback.
Yeah. Like I said, one thing about them, when you start talking Ivy League, they got a lot of millionaires and billionaires backing those schools. Okay. And these schools, they get tons of money from endowments from these rich people. Those endowments come from those rich folks, where they can add a new school in, you know, another school of medicine, and they can do stuff like that.
I wonder behind the scenes, did Trump even try to pay his way to get that boy into one? You know, he'll try anything.
Well, you know, he's at Barron goes to NYU. And one of the professors over there got fired because they said Barron is like an oddity on their campus. And because he said that, that professor lost his job.
You know, some strings was pulled.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. These rich people, yeah. Yeah. They think you're supposed to just take their dumb kid.
Yeah.
That college cheating scandal revealed a lot. It really did.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah, that's what happens when you keep messing with us, focusing on us, and we ain't bothering nobody, because we know when our kids get in these colleges, they work hard.
They sure do. They sure do. And instead of being mad at the university, why don't you get Barron some educational help so he can get better and be able to get in there?
Well, it goes back to what I was saying to you when we were discussing this, entitlement.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pissed. He did. I think he didn't want his son to go to NYU, you know, because Donald Trump is angry about all of the prosecution and sentencing he went through in New York. So he's sour on New York. And I think he really didn't want his son to go to NYU, but he's there.
He did not invest in him. You know?
I tell you what, judging from his other two sons, I'm not surprised he's not that bright.
Mm-mm.
Y'all ever heard Don Jr. talk?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Woo, man. Mm,
Yep. Well, they came, like I said, they came from Trump's loins. It's in their DNA. On out of all of his children, only one actually did apply herself and go to school and get a legitimate degree. Because you know he don't have nothing to do with that daughter.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, if he's not smart enough, he's just not.
Damn, he ain't even an app.
I mean, it was just like those other rich kids during the college cheating scandal. They were saying some of them didn't even show up for class, and their
Mm-hmm.
parents were getting people to take tests for them and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
you cheat to get them in, and then you cheat for the next 4 years so they can get that degree.
What tickled me.
People taking their exams for them and writing papers for them and everything.
Yeah, that's when you was Lisa, you was really rubbing it in real thick. You know, you was really hurting their feelings when you was pointing out how the Nigerians are making literally millions. They got it set up where they'll go over there and get they term papers put together. They'll spend
And
that.
they go to black people to get their work done.
Yeah, isn't
All of us supposed to be stupid and low IQ, but they're running to a black continent to get their work done.
wait a
I'm
minute, what did he call it? A shithole country?
well, they need that shithole country. Their kids do apparently to take their classes online, take their exams, and for the next 4 years, and then they just walk up on the stage and get their degree.
Wow. You know what tickled me about it, Lisa, was how they would want the whole package. They want them to be scholars, they want them to be athletes, they want the whole package.
Mm-hmm.
Because they was
They got it. Listen, True Royal, listen. They got a long history of not
Mhm,
doing their own work. They got a long history of that. I
mhm,
mean, look, our forefathers went through chattel slavery
mhm,
because they ain't about doing no labor. That's why they got these immigrants in here. But see, now Nebraska might go bankrupt. They can't get people in there to work. And I said, why don't y'all do the work yourself? No, they ain't about to do no labor. See, these people ain't about no work. They talk all that crap about, oh, I work hard and I work hard and all that. But at the end of the day, these folks do not like doing their own work. They don't like it. They want somebody else to always come in and do everything.
mhm.
I'm serious, y'all. Just think about their history.
Yeah,
That's how it's been the whole time.
and then they know where to go to get the shit done. That's the part that blew my mind when you had showed that stuff. Them trolls left your channel quick. You was hurting their feelings.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
and
they even had the websites they could go to, pay somebody over there in Africa, Kenya. I think somewhere in Kenya, somewhere in Nigeria, but they had them folks doing all their work.
yeah, because one of them that you showed, Lisa, this one African, he was a millionaire behind that.
Yeah. Yeah, many of them were making tons of money. And some of them were taking classes for, one guy said he was taking classes for like 7, 8 different people.
Mm, mm, mm.
He was taking their classes for them,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But
Mm-hmm.
when you start reflecting on the kind of people they are, they just don't like doing their own work. If they
Yes.
could cut corners or find a way to do it, and you know what I mean, do it half-ass, or get somebody from a foreign nation to do it for, that's what they're about, y'all.
You know
That's what
what?
they're about.
You know how many cases I have seen, Lisa, on TV, and it blew my mind where you'll go into one of these. Okay, say they may be working in corporate America and they in a big old fancy office and they got all they degrees up on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really take the time to go read that shit, it's all fake. They didn't went
Yeah,
and ordered
yeah,
it,
many of them bought, yep, they bought those degrees, yes. Yes, but I tell you what, when you see degrees on black people's walls, they work their ass off to get it.
That's right.
They did,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all, and I'm just saying, Nebraska is a very good example. They are crying for people to come out there. Why don't you get your ass out there? Get your ass out there, get your family, and y'all start harvesting the crops and doing whatever you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they rather sit in the background crying because nobody's coming
Mm-mm-mm.
and won't do your own work. See,
So you
that's what
just
I'm saying. All
you
throughout
just
history, they've been this way.
so you just gonna sit there and let your crops rot,
Yes.
and
And
they
that's
just
what's happening.
well, they don't want didn't they vote Trump in?
Yeah, they voted Trump in, and
Yeah,
didn't most of them steal these farmlands that they got?
yeah, they stole it from us.
Yeah. If you go look at the history, y'all, they stole land from black farmers, and this government helped them do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at the history.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
want the farm, you want the money, but you don't want to do the work.
Yeah, because after they assassinated Lincoln, I forget the name of that president. Some black folks did get some land. He took all that shit back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that
Mm-hmm.
was Andrew Jackson. That
Okay.
took land. Lincoln gave it, and then he came behind Lincoln and took it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he took it
Mm-hmm.
away. He took the land away
Mm-hmm.
that
You
they could have gotten, and that would have been some great generational wealth right there. Oh
but
yeah, I saw the Michelle Harvey. I saw the advertisement for Nebraska. These mofo's want to take you out in that baking hot sun and have you work 12-hour days every single day for $11 an hour. I said, hell, teenagers ain't even going to take that.
they got a commercial?
Yeah, they want people to come and work on those farms for $11 an hour, being
What?
out in that baking hot sun for 12 straight hours every day doing that work. That's
Really?
what they want. Yes.
Okay. All
And
right.
nobody's biting. Nobody is biting. The only ones that were willing to do it were those people from South America and Mexico that they had. But see, ICE done ran them off. ICE ran them
Mm-hmm.
off.
Mm-hmm.
So now they won't go out there and do that. Just goes to show you how lazy they are. They won't even go out and do their own work.
so,
And see, this is how they've been. But see, don't you find it strange if somebody works hard, right? If somebody really truly is breaking their back and working hard, why
mm-hmm.
do they got to announce it all the time?
That's
That
true.
in itself tells you something ain't right about what they're saying to you.
Because you right, Lisa. Because I remember the last job that I worked on, which was the New Bay Bridge, and I really paid attention. This white guy, older white guy, all he was a finisher, and what he does is smooth out concrete on
Mm-hmm.
his knees, and he kept saying, "I qualify, I qualify."
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they have me here. And I'm thinking, you got all these people in the Bay Area. You done came from another state, and you acting like your ass is so special, and you keep telling people you qualify. See, it don't just go into just white collar. Like I was telling you I was talking to Big Mike um the other day, and
Mm-hmm.
he told me, because he drives trucks long distance. He said that they are having some problems. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of these illegals that they bring it over, and it's not just these Mexicans. He said it's a lot of Arabs, people from India and stuff like that. He said they are literally um, going to construction sites and running over people or tearing up buildings because they don't know how to stop them trucks. And he said to get your license and stuff. He said they buying them under the table, and it's becoming very dangerous out there on them roads. And then Big Mike was saying, because you have like a broker, I know a little bit about this stuff. And he said they wanted him to drive 3 states over, and they
Wow.
was going to only pay him $1,100.
No,
And
I wouldn't have done that.
yeah, and usually that's like about a like he said that's like close to like $4,000. He said I ain't doing this shit. But
No, I
see,
don't blame them.
so they gonna undercut folks, um, and you know, you think you're doing something cheap, but it's becoming a danger to people out there on these roads. So y'all listen to what I'm saying. You better pay attention to these truck drivers out here on these roads, and stuff. A lot of them don't qualify. They didn't, you know, they didn't did some illegal stuff. When I tell you something that I encountered that really pissed me off. So when I had my carpet cleaning service many years ago, we started doing commercial. So we had to put a bid in at a hotel, and they had 50 rooms, Lisa. So I went over there to do the bid, and I said that I said we would do each room $50 a room. Okay. So then an Asian company came in and bid it. They got the bid. Lisa, you wouldn't believe what the bid was. They said they would do it for $7 a room.
Yeah, I believe it. They
I
they
was
always they always work for crumbs. Dinah, light daughter, I want to address what you wrote. You said, I thought they built the pyramids. No, they probably got somebody else to do it, but took the
no,
credit.
no, they did it. No, they
Because
did it.
that's what they have done to us, haven't it? We did all the inventions, but they took the credit. And they probably did that with the pyramids, right? They wouldn't
Yeah.
have done it themselves because they don't like doing labor.
Well, the classic one you said, Lisa, one of them said they did it at night,
Mm-hmm.
so they didn't sunburn.
They paid somebody to do it at night because they don't like labor.
Mm.
They don't
Mm-mm.
like labor. They want somebody else to do it.
Mm-hmm. And then when you see the hieroglyphics, the one that tickled me was because you know they said we didn't do it. They said because once they started opening up and going inside of them, the oxygen caused the people that you would see on there for everything to turn black.
Mm-hmm. You know what they gonna do though, True Royal?
What?
They gonna get desperate and break down in Nebraska and take them guys out of jail to come out there and do it. That's what they gonna do. They gonna do that out of desperation
They
because
gonna
nobody come.
they gonna break in.
Yeah,
they
they
gonna
they gonna go and see if they can get them inmates out
no,
on their plantations to do all the work.
you know who they gonna do? You know who they gonna get? That's gonna be perfect. They gonna get them MAGAs that was up there at DC. They the one for the job, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then on top of that, they'll shit all over the farms too.
Mm-hmm. See, but for real, if they can't get the immigrants back and those crops are about to rot because they're not being harvested, they're gonna start using prison labor out there. I bet that's what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like
Mm-hmm.
I said, these folks ain't about no labor.
Well,
You just look at their history. Their history will tell you. It will tell you that.
according to Trump, everything is great. He done got, through his first 100 days, the price of gas is down, the price of food is down, tourism is up, Lisa. Did you know
You
that?
see what some of the news site wrote, and they said Donald Trump's first 100 days were the worst in the history of the presidency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump got wind of it and he said that was fake news.
Boy, the one that got me.
So any criticism of him, that's fake news.
I had joy watching that because I had joy watching that interview when he got to talking about them tattoos on that guy's hand, and he acted like he wanted to fight him. And then what tickled me was that dude would not let Trump punk him. And then when it's all over with, he basically said, I'm paraphrasing, he don't like ABC, They terrible. And then in the middle of the interview, he's saying like, I'm doing you the biggest favor in the world. Like your whole life gonna change. I'm granting you this interview. No, he held your feet to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
It is incredible how this dude lie.
Yes. Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
And what I take joy of, Trump don't get no sleep. You don't get no sleep when people do dirt like that day in and day out. And then we talking about he in his feelings because his little raggedy son can't get into this school. I mean, you are supposed to be running this country, and you are so petty. You got all this shit on your mind. You are vindictive. What somebody call it? The rage tour.
In that interview, he did mention how you're sitting in your position going after your enemies. And that ain't what a sitting president is supposed to do. And True Royal, I guess the presidency is just doing tariffs and writing executive orders because Donald Trump don't seem to be doing nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, usually your president, they're traveling, they're making deals, they're negotiating, deals and rewriting things, the update things. And all he doing on a daily basis is tariffs and executive orders, and that's it.
Yeah. And he's only left the country once. He went
and that was not even for America. That was for the Pope's funeral.
Yeah, and he got his ass right up out of there.
He wasn't working.
No, he got his behind up out of there too, real quick and all. And you're right about that, Lisa, because what tickled me in that interview, he wanted to talk about when things he just couldn't handle it. The classic thing, well, I came in here and look at all this problems that Biden left me. No, that's not working.
Right.
You the president now.
Well, they said when the shelves, because I read this the other day, they said when the shelves go empty, Donald Trump, what he's going to do is get on the soapbox and say Biden is the reason why the shelves are empty in the country. That's what he's going to do, y'all. And even the news is anticipating him do this.
Okay.
He's going to say, oh, no, it's not me. It's not me. Joe Biden, he's the one that got these shelves empty. It's his fault.
Yeah, that ain't that. You know what? Ain't nobody gonna want to hear that shit when they can't get anything. Like he was saying, he was begging for eggs, and nobody wouldn't have nothing to do. See what he did. And I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life. We ain't never had problems with Canada. No. You purposely go out of your way to just stir up some stuff and make up some stuff.
Make them the 51st state. Oh. Why would you? That's a whole country up there. Why on earth would they let Donald? So in other words, he wants to take complete control over Canada. Why would they? And they say they don't want Donald Trump. They got their own president.
Yeah, they have, and he brought it up in that interview, Terry Moran, how very angry them Canadians are with Trump, and a lot of them during this time of year. This is when the tourism season start. It's gonna crash and burn because I think you was the one that told me that. I think was it I think they were German or Russian. I'm not sure. Some people came over here and ICE locked them up for 6 days.
Germans.
Okay.
It was Germans, and they came over as tourists, and they got locked up for a whole week. And they said they didn't even get food or water. ICE wouldn't even give them food or water and had them locked up.
Lord.
Yeah. I mean, it was really cruel. They said they got treated like they were criminals. They said they barely wanted to give them a cup of water the whole time they were in there.
Yeah, them people ain't gonna never come back here. And I wouldn't be surprised. They probably on TV in their country telling about their whole experience. That's bad business. That is bad business. But they think,
it's even worse, True Royal. Did you know China was getting a lot of their oil from the United States? China just left And now they made a deal with Canada. They're going to get their oil from Canada now. And you know how much that was? The US was getting $1 trillion a year from China for them to come and get oil from the US. And now, because of Donald Trump, that deal is dead. They are now in Canada and said from now on, their oil is going to come from Canada.
You know what you're making me think of, Lisa? Do you remember a number of years ago, they were saying that America and China are going to clash when it comes to gas and oil, because China is the most populated country in the world, and then the second one would be India. And here we are looking at it and all, because you know, this country don't want to use any of their natural resources, and they want to cut, like we'll use Africa, they want to cut everything off from them and demand for them to send their petrol over, sell their petrol over here. And I'm liking that more and more our folks over in Africa is getting a backbone, and they're not doing it. They running them up out of there, and they
Yeah, and
you
you
know,
see that, you see now they want to take out anybody that don't want them there. I
yeah,
mean, the nerve.
you should have seen them. I forget what region it was. Um, um, them people from Switzerland came over, and they wanted to try to negotiate a deal to keep getting the coca the coca bean from Africa, and they told them no. And them Africans said, we'll make our own chocolate, and they not even selling it to America. And
Well,
did
yeah,
you
well,
see?
you know, South Africa told Donald Trump, because you know Donald Trump came after them with that lie that they were killing the white farmers. And
Mm-hmm,
then he turned around and talked about minerals out of South
mm-hmm.
Africa that he want. And South Africa said they ain't giving him no minerals.
Well, just
They ain't
recently,
going to let Donald Trump buy any minerals from them.
because my aunt been keeping up with it very heavily. Um, just recently, um, they had told these white folks over in some region of Africa that they could not extract no more gold from their country. They gave them a certain amount of time to get out. They sat their ass there like, no, we ain't going nowhere. Then when they realized them Africans wasn't playing, do you know they tried to smuggle the gold out? Now they've
Mhm.
been over there for hundreds of years, making trillions of dollars. You see how they get down? It's never ending with them. We have to stop it. We have to stop it. And all. And they were saying that that they more and more countries, it's like a ripple effect. They tell them they gotta go. They gotta go and all, because they just trying to strip everything out of Africa. But one thing that I found out is, as long as they've been over there getting the diamonds and all the different minerals, they said they haven't been able to touch even 10% of it. That's how mineral rich Africa is.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
It is. I mean, that continent is the wealthiest on the entire earth, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And the whole time they've been in there just taking what they want. They don't want to pay. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want, that's what I'm saying. You got to do all the labor and they grab the stuff up and get all the benefits, selling it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's all
Mm-hmm.
they're about. They're not about nothing else.
Mm-hmm. No. Same, yeah. Their nature um is the same. Like Cap always say, and it doesn't matter the order, wherever they show up, they bring death, destruction, deceit, disease. Look what's going on in Texas. Trump don't even want to, they don't even want to deal with that. Them kids is having a measles outbreak so bad, it's ridiculous.
And they put RFK, who is a non-medical person, in charge. And they said it's clear he don't know what to do. That outbreak is getting worse in the country. And from what I understand, this strain of measles is not like the ones that, was out 50 years ago. This strain is very different.
Mm.
And he don't know what to do. And they
Mm-hmm.
had told him, they need something done, a vaccine or something. Something needs to be done to slow this thing down.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, take cod liver oil.
I
And them
know.
parents are fired up mad at RFK Jr. He has
Mm-hmm.
no business sitting in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever there is some type of outbreak of disease in the country, that's where a medical professional would be necessary, not RFK Jr.
Yeah, well, one of the first things Trump do within those 100 days, we're not a part of who anymore.
Right. Because
You
he don't
know.
want us to know about anything that's breaking out. That's a
Uh-huh.
pandemic.
Well,
He don't want us to know. But we're gonna
no,
know anyway.
yeah, but Trump is so dumb. He just say, "Well, it'll just go away.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
Well,
ignore it, and it'll
says that
go
about
away."
a lot of things.
That man is not bright at all, and
Yeah, yeah. Well, he RFK is telling these parents that just give them cod liver oil, and no defense, but that doesn't do anything for measles.
no, I know
That does
exactly. I
nothing
know.
for
I ain't
measles.
gonna mention it here,
And
but I know exactly what to
yeah,
do. If y'all want to
but
know, email me.
yeah, but the thing is, this is impacting a lot of children in this country, and the number is increasing every single week. And he's just kind of sitting there, and you can clearly tell he don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
He don't know what to do.
Somebody said it's now affecting Chicago, Lisa.
Yeah, yeah, it's in my state, True Royal. It's
Mm-hmm.
in my state.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Just growing all over the place.
Let me
And
put my
you got somebody just sitting there scratching his head. You don't need nobody like that in charge of a
yeah,
department of human health.
yeah.
He doesn't know what to do.
Well, when somebody got a damn a damn worm in their head, you know, wow, that's all I can say. You get away from that, but since we dragging everybody, I want to drag Pete Hexet a taste, and I ain't gonna forget Elon either. So Pete Hexet, we supposed to give him a chance,
Mm-hmm.
because he gotta, I ain't never heard Trump use them kind of words. To get to know the job, and he needs support and all. Nah, he's a genius, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he dragging his wife around and his brother around. What they doing for him?
Mm-hmm. No, but I mean, somebody mentioned Dr. Fauci. No, you don't have to have nobody like that. In fact, I listened to a woman. She was being interviewed. She was a black nurse. Boy, that woman, she broke it all down about what parents need to do
Mm-hmm.
and how to look at their children, because they said sometimes in the preliminary stage, when they're just starting to break out, you can detect it on their bodies.
Yes, you can.
Now I remember when my son had the chicken pox.
Mm-hmm.
When my son had the chicken pox, when you looked at the front of him, you saw nothing. But
Mm-hmm.
if you turned him around and looked at his back was covered with the lesions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you do really have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. That I had kind of the same experience, Lisa, when my youngest son had it. I remember he had 3 of the legions on him, and I knew exactly what to give to him, and everything lasted 3 days. That's why I'm putting my email out, because I can't say it at all. So what I did for my granddaughter, I'm not gonna sit and wait for something to go down. I got what she needed for prevention and all. So like I said, email me and you'll be shocked what it is to take. Everybody
So
need to take it.
the thing is, it is clear that Donald Trump got a cabinet full of unqualified people. I was listening to some lawyers talk, and they said Pam Bondi, they said there is no way she's qualified to be any type of attorney general. They said she was barely a decent lawyer. She really wasn't that good of a lawyer. I said, I know why Donald Trump appointed her. He likes the way she looks. But they said she was not a good lawyer at all. And Donald Trump took her and made her the top attorney in the country.
So all you got to be to work for Trump is be dumb as a sack of rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he requires. And oh, wait a minute. And another thing, you got to praise him every day. And all. And he's never wrong. And so I don't even know why he even have people advising him. You know, because you can't tell him the truth. Because the key word that Lisa used was he's thin-skinned. You know, and that interview really, really showed how weak he is. And the part I like is because he's such a bully. I really think that guy, a team of people, studied people that he just ran over in interviews, and he was very well prepared, and he wouldn't back down, and he crumbled. And he what you was looking at is what I call a man child. When none of his bag of tricks work, then it's like he turns into a big ass blubbering baby. That's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like you no more. You're not playing fair. You know, Trump don't play fair. Shit, you play golf with him, but he cheats. They said he speeds up the golf cart. I mean, damn, he's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know how anybody can work around that man every day.
No, me,
sympathy.
Yeah, me either. And you know what? And then the people that break their neck to work for him, see, they ain't learned nothing, Lisa, the first round. Look at the first round, how it affected so many people's lives. They was getting locked up. Their marriages was going south. Things was not going right for them. Can't get a job. You know, you can't put that on your resume. You work for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna get no job.
That's what Spicer said. Y'all remember when he was the speaker?
Mm-hmm.
He said after he left the White House, nobody would hire him.
Mm-hmm.
So he does podcasting now. That's how he earns his money. But he said after he put in application after application, because he worked for the Trump administration, not one person would call him back and interview him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that is deep. And he's a white man. You know, if anybody can get jobs up in here, it's always them. He couldn't even get a job anywhere.
Now, look at how people a few years ago, Lisa, it was beneath them to be here on YouTube putting up videos, like somebody like Roland Martin. You know, he was saying we didn't qualify to do anything. Now everybody running over here wanting to put up a channel.
Is that stupid for him to say? Because True Royal, you don't need no qualifications to sign up for Google. You don't interview to be on here. So it doesn't matter what the qualifications. It could be a high school dropout that's doing what they got every right to do it. This ain't a job. This is social media. So there is, when he say qualified, well, what's the qualification for YouTube? Because when I signed up, they didn't give me no list of qualifications because there are none. That's a stupid statement, Roland.
Yeah. Now he over there on something totally different. And stuff. Lisa, I was over there listening to him last night. All Roland do now is cuss. He was using the F word yesterday. I mean, he was wearing it out. Woo! Oh, he was going in. I said, "Oh, I thought you was the church boy. You know, I thought his wife was a pastor.
She
You're
is
in here cussing like a sailor." See,
I'm
yeah.
all the
Some
time.
people been over there seeing him cussing like that. I was shocked. But Lisa, what I wanted to ask you, because I was so busy trying to get an article to you. You said you found some more stuff about this situation with Barron.
Yeah, there's articles cropping up about it because people are questioning why he's so targeted on Harvard. And Harvard, you can see they ain't backing down. And he's like, well, cut off the federal funding. They don't even care. They
Mm-hmm.
don't care. They are digging in for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
See, Harvard
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of rich, wealthy backers. They really don't have to worry about federal fundings like that.
Which that's what I call old money, Lisa. They got that old
Yeah,
long
that's
money.
slave money. Old money is
Yeah,
slave
there you
money.
go.
Slave money.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right
so
about
that's
that.
why they don't care that Donald Trump wants to cut off the federal funding. And they said,
Mm-hmm.
no, he is not going to tell them what they can and cannot do up at that university.
Well,
And that's why
uh,
that's why they're going to court and they are bearing down for the fight because they said, no, Donald Trump ain't going to do that mess to them. They're going to have
see,
the kind of curriculum they want and teach what they want. And he ain't going to be somewhere dictating everything.
now over on Roland's channel, there was in the black somewhere predominantly black neighborhood, predominantly black school, elementary school, where they didn't already set up the curriculum and all, and Trump want to step in. No, you said these states is on their own, and this would be great for them.
Mm-hmm.
See, you I told you he vacillates too much.
Yeah.
And he's sitting up there worried. He's sitting up there worried, like, oh wow, they may achieve something. And what he's doing is stupid. That's why his son couldn't get accepted. You got to invest in the youth. You don't invest in the youth, who gonna take care of us when our asses get old? It starts at home. If you don't discipline, we already know what time it is. Your children, and do what you got to do. That shit'll blow up in your face.
Mm-hmm. No, but you see, rich people, they don't discipline their children. Their
Mm-hmm.
children will railroad their asses.
Mm-hmm. Years ago, do you remember they had some article out having the nerve to say that children of color pretty much they can take when corporal punishment is used, but when it comes to white kids, they can't handle it all, and it shouldn't. Basically, it was like it's cool for that for our children can get it, but not these white kids and
Mm-hmm.
all. I said these people, mm-mm,
You're breaking up again.
Oh, excuse. Okay, all right.
Hmm.
How do I sound now?
You sound fine.
Okay. That blew my mind when I heard that.
That's the thing. And see, that's why I keep telling y'all, rich people are not the best people to be in charge. One thing I know about them because I've worked with some of them, in certain corporations I was in.
Mm-hmm.
See, they're all lackadaisical with their children. Their children are undisciplined. They run all over them.
Mm-hmm.
They do what they want. They talk to the parents like they want. That same person will go out on a job and bear down and be all hard on your child.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's what I don't like about these rich people. They want to put the discipline that they should be putting on their child. They want to come out here and put it on yours.
Yeah. But like I said, Lisa, they're doing their children a disservice. Like you said, they let them run amok, and they can clearly see them doing what they doing, and stuff. And then when they get out here on the world stage and they're not protected by their parents, and somebody then knock them on their ass, now they want to go get a gun and shoot up everybody because they can't take rejection and all, or they're gonna really the biggest disservice they do to them. They think they can just talk crazy to us, do anything to us, and we just gonna go along with it. I was listening to a video where some white folks was like, they ain't even scared. These Ray Rays and Pookies and them kids ain't gonna put up with. They ain't going to no plantation. They're not doing it, and they real quick to check your behind. I didn't seen it. I have seen it. I was at the store, and these two black girls were talking, just minding their business, and this old white woman said, "You should be ashamed of yourself," saying whatever those girls were saying, and them girls turned around and said, "Shut up, bitch! You mind your damn business." That woman looked like she was about to faint. See, you don't know how to keep. They don't know how to stay in their lane. That's how that damn girl ended up in prison for life, killing that black man down there in Atlanta. All of a sudden, because they deputize themselves and they feel like they have the right to arrest us. She chasing him all down the road, pulling guns out and stuff.
Do you know that's why they got rid of, how people could do citizens arrest?
Mm-hmm.
The state of New Jersey abolished citizens arrest because you know what they noticed? It was just a pattern of white people doing citizens arrest on black people. And it was that pattern for years and years and years. And New Jersey finally got rid of it because they said it's all rooted in racism. So nobody up in here can walk up to you, start an argument, and do a citizen's arrest. They can't do that up in this state.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can do that too. See, when we start applying the pressure, then it's a problem and things need to be changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that you there's still states that got that citizens arrest. Mm-hmm. But our state, and there's a few others up here on the East Coast that had to get rid of it because it was just nothing but a bunch of white people doing citizens arrest on black people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really do some things that blow my mind. Last year, it was a white guy at my door, and my husband had to return a package. You know how you have one of those like life alert things? Well, he didn't like it, and the guy came to pick it up, and Amari hadn't boxed it up and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I went to go get my husband. So I was going to close the door. You know, that bastard put his foot in the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe it.
And I had to check him. And my husband happened to be asleep. I didn't even open the door. He stood out there for the longest. Eventually, he walked away.
Yeah. Well, this was a couple of years ago. 2 white guys came on my porch, knocked on the door, and I had to get the door because I was on my way out. So I was like, okay, find out what they want. They were trying to sell windows. And I said, we don't really need windows. And he was like, well, from what I'm looking at, you can do this and you can do that. And I said, no, I really don't want it. And so I started walking to my car and he's still running his mouth, right? The other white guy that was with him started pulling. He said, listen to her. She told you no. She told you no. Stop it. But he kept coming at me. Well, ma'am, what about this? And ma'am, what about that? And he said, she's not interested. Leave her alone. His friend, the second dude that was with him had to pull him away.
Yeah, he
was coming all up on me, still running his mouth. I already said no. Damn.
We had an incident, Lisa. It was about 10 years ago. Some white kids, were teenagers, came to our door. It was 3 white boys, and they was trying to sell us some magazines. And they asked, we told them no. They asked, could they come up in our house? And we done already told them no. And you could feel their energy. They wanted to rob us. You know how you can feel negative energy, and eventually my husband had to get real nasty with them. They was running back to their car. They was running some game, and
I know, because my husband was saying to me, you that should have been me, because he said I would have cussed him out. They would have been running. But yeah, I mean, the other guy he had some sense. He grabbed his arm and everything. He said, "Stop it." She said, "No, stop it." I was like, "Damn."
You said, "Wow, Truro, they are some Entitled little heathens. Yep, you're right about that. Mm-hmm.
They sure are. They sure are. But, you know, don't you find it ironic? We haven't heard Barron speak one time.
The last time I heard him speak, Lisa, he was a toddler. And you don't see him with no other children. You don't see him with a little girlfriend. Did he go to the prom? I don't even know if that boy even went to high school. What's going on with him? The last thing I heard about him is he Trump said he's a genius on computers, and they were saying that he don't like being touched, and I did see him push his father's hands away more than once, and he likes to be in rooms where all the walls is white. That boy messed up. He came out the womb messed up. Look who his parents is. And so now he want to take things out on people because they won't accept his little retarded ass in college.
I know. And I mean, this is not what a president should be, y'all. A president shouldn't be this way. You know, if your kid got turned down for college, just be humble about it. There's other colleges out here in the country they can go to. But no, he wanted him in the top Ivy League, and he just obviously he can't cut it. Or his grades are not good enough.
Trump can't accept it, Lisa. He just can't accept it, you know. So if he got his way.
What did you say, True Royal? I don't hear you now. True Royal, are you there? True Royal? I don't even know if she can hear me. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
as much as people like to gamble.
Okay, True Royal. For about a minute, we could not hear you at all, and I was calling you, and I wasn't sure if you could hear me. You're gonna have to start all over.
I didn't
hear anything you said.
Okay. No, I did not hear you. What I said was, how does a casino become bankrupt as much as people like to gamble? I was trying to figure out how is he ruining these businesses that he have. Oh, now I see. Look what the destruction that has been done in 100 days. Amazing. That's all I can say about that. Amazing. So he said in 6 months we're gonna really see how wonderful things are gonna be. Didn't he say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And nothing has gotten better. Remember, he said prices would go down in this country day one when he got in office. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. In fact, the prices went up since he's been in office. But according to him, the economy is doing well.
Yeah, everything is wonderful. What did somebody say? It was 4 casinos? Damn.
Yeah. He had 2 in Atlantic City. Right on the boardwalk, he had 2. His buffets wasn't all that great, but
I don't think he gonna make it 4 years. So can you imagine what the next 4 years is gonna? I just can't see it. I can't see him keeping up this level of hatred and this pace of crap that he's doing.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Yeah, at all.
Yeah, Shamika, he said he's a genius because he can turn a computer on. I said, you're probably right. You know what Donald Trump means? He's a little smarter than Donald Trump on a computer. That's probably why he calls him a genius.
Oh, okay, because he could cut it on. Okay. All right.
And Donald Trump, I doubt if he can even type.
You know what gets me? When Trump would tickle me when he was first in office, and he would be over there, he just sometimes he would have to put something up, and whoever was assisting him on that, I was like, all you got to do is talking to the computer, Trump. I remember one time he was upset about something, Lisa. It was like every other word was misspelled. You
Mm.
got spell check. I'm like, damn, Trump, what's going on with
But
you?
remember, he's a graduate from Fordham University.
What did he get a degree in?
You know what? I can't remember what it was in.
Was it
I
a
gotta go back and look.
accounting? I think it was accounting, Lisa. I guess
Accounting.
yeah, I think they said something about accounting.
But the man is stupid.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, Donald Trump, his sister did all of his homework when he
Mm-hmm.
was going to school and college. His sister did all of his work. Why do you think Donald Trump sound the way that he does? He sound like somebody the Royal said fourth grade. And he
Yeah,
does.
that's yeah, that yeah.
He didn't do his own work. His sister did all of his work.
What did somebody say? Barron is just stacking bees in the corner of his white padded sail. Oh my goodness, that is funny.
Oh
And
man.
that makes him a genius.
Right.
Bees. Okay.
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
right. Gonna stack the bees in the corner. Have a conversation with him. Because he ain't talking to nobody. Mm-mm. He is
Well,
too.
they showed a girl last week saying that's Barron's girlfriend. And I was like,
Yeah, right. Okay,
girl,
whatever.
do he talk to her? That's what I want to know. Does he even talk to her?
Maybe they pick somebody on the same level, Lisa. You know?
Mm, mm, mm.
So now these universities gotta pay because this little boy he's shamed that I mean at least he's in college, damn, but that's not enough.
Well, Donald Trump, if you are screaming at the university because they didn't take your son, that's not merit based, man. I thought you said you wanted everything merit based up in here.
See, when it's running the way it's supposed to be running, you see how quickly you want to change the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
What you say? Barron is low functioning, autistic. Uh-huh. I can see it clearly. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to look at that boy and you can tell something's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. You can
Mhm.
clearly tell something's not right. I
Yeah.
think he was in office the first time. I don't think I ever saw him even crack a smile.
He got always got his
Oh,
head hung
he
low.
always got that stone face. I
Yeah,
never seen him smile.
he got his head hung low. Um, and all. And with all that height he got, he don't look coordinated. So he ain't no athlete.
Mhm.
What you say, 6'7"?
Yeah,
Oh
he's 6'7".
Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know why I think he always have his head lowered. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's self-conscious about his height. I
Yeah.
think that's why he does that.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. I forget that guy that Trump fell out with when he was first in office. He wrote a book about Trump, and the white guy was really extremely tall, and he was always trying to hide in a corner. You remember that guy? Him and Trump fell out big time.
Comey, the former FBI director.
Oh, okay, yeah,
It's
and
him. Yeah.
yeah, I was reading that they were saying that he's always been very self conscious of his height.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Boy, y'all calling him all kind of names. Cabbage Patch Kid.
Mm-mm-mm.
Mm-mm-mm. Wow. Every day. I keep saying the same thing to you, Lisa. What's
Mm-hmm.
going what's going to happen tomorrow?
That's probably why Melania stays away from him.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know, somebody made a comment that had me screaming. You remember when Donald Trump fell asleep at the Pope's funeral?
Wow.
You know, I did a video on it. So anyway, Donald Trump fell asleep at the Pope's funeral, and photographers all over the world took pictures of him doing it, and it went viral the next day.
Ooh.
So anyway, somebody made a comment and they said, well, this is probably the second time Donald Trump got to sleep next to Melania.
Oh, that's wrong. Oh, Lord.
They said,
oh, that is funny.
This is the second time Donald Trump got to sleep next to Melania.
Oh, Lord.
They had Barron.
Yeah, they were talking about that smell, that odor that Trump have over his body. And it was a number of people. They was like, he smelled like he putting all kind of stuff in his hair, and then he put that war paint on his face, and then you got to remember he in them diapers, and he just wear one all day, and all. But they said he has a terrible odor. Trump know his ass stink. People like that. That's part of their narcissism. They want people to smell their shit.
But people were saying that about him in his first term. I remember folks talked about his odor even then.
Somebody has sent me a video, Lisa. Oh wow, this blew my mind. And Trump was sitting in the Oval Office talking to somebody, and you could see him slightly lifting one leg up. He was shitting on himself, Lisa. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I had to keep watching that. And the guy that was sitting next to him, he was from another country. You could tell he could smell something, but he just played it off. He didn't do like Nancy Pelosi. I mean, Nancy couldn't hide that. That was epic, and all. And I was like, wow. And then there was it was like a collage of videos. He's at the podium, and you heard gush. And I said, oh my goodness. And then another one, he played it off. He just kept talking. But the other video, when he was shitting on himself, it was like prolonged. So he froze because he was like trying to, like engage, how long this was going to be lasting. I said, I can't believe this. Oh my goodness. So they were saying back in the 80s, Lisa, he had went to some exclusive restaurant in New York, and they told Trump to leave. He stunk so bad. They said he had to go. The owner said, no, he got to go. They wasn't putting it up. They was not putting up with that.
But no, the video that had me screaming was when he was talking at that podium and Dianne Feinstein was right by it, and he was farting, and you could tell she could smell it. The looks on her face. She wanted to get out of there. She wanted to get out of there, but she couldn't.
Well, you remember when he was in court, and
they were talking about how he stunk up the court farting.
And he would be in there asleep.
And they wrote about it. They said Trump would pass gas all up in the court
all day.
And they said it got so bad at one point the lawyers had to take a break. It was so bad. He stunk up the whole courtroom.
See, he needed some black folks to deal with that, Lisa.
No, we don't need to deal with him in that.
No, we would have, we would have said something. We would have said something.
I think he's so arrogant. He probably knows and just don't care.
Yeah, that's part of his narcissism. He wants people. He don't think his shit stink. That bastard like the way he smell. and all. And they, and when they was showing that courtroom in New York, Lisa, it was like one of them old rooms. It was kind of small.
Yeah, that was the same courthouse that the Central Park Five was tried
Mm-hmm,
in. If you
mm-hmm,
remember, that was the same exact courthouse. And I said, isn't it ironic? Because Donald Trump took that one-page ad calling for them to be executed, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they were found guilty, but they got exonerated eventually, right? But look,
Okay.
Donald Trump went in that same courthouse and he was found guilty. I said, look at the irony in that.
Yeah.
But this won't even apologize for what he wrote in that paper, in that one page.
He dug his heels in. I remember when they had said he was guilty and all that stuff. They said both of his sons was out there crying.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
Mm-hmm.
them that's something else. But I remember Don Lemon was talking about it because Don Lemon had tears in his eyes, and I said, this thing got way out of hand. That he's smelling up the courtroom like that, and Trump had to know people were smelling that. I mean, that's some really low down behavior to have. But um, he true to his nature. They often say, I have read that they say money refines you. No, money brings out, sometimes, not all the time, brings out your true ass nature.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's true.
mm, mm,
That's true.
mm, mm, mm.
Absolutely.
Wow. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I had somebody come in my comment section and I just had to kind of come at them.
Mm-hmm.
They said, well, your live stream, was you played music for 6 minutes
Mm-hmm.
and then you only spoke for this amount of minutes and then it was over. And I said, I didn't know I was being timed. And I
Wow.
said, number one, that song I played is 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I had to get off of there.
Uh-huh.
I don't have all the time in the world sometimes because I am a small business owner,
Yeah.
but if I can even get on briefly and talk to y'all about a topic, then I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm. But it goes deeper than that. You juggling many hats. You got a household to run.
It was unbelievable how he was
Shit.
so upset. He wanted to point that out to me. And I said, petty at best. How
Go.
petty do you have to be to say something like that?
Yeah, the time something would
I,
get
I
me.
didn't know people were timing me when I came on my lives. I'm
You
being
know,
timed. Are
well,
you for real?
Lisa, are you forcing people to be over here?
Hell no, never did.
So that's a damn fool that somebody would sit up and just sit there and they irritated and sit there and listen. And on top of that, they timing it.
Mm-hmm.
You could have went somewhere else.
Sure could have.
Yeah. Ain't nobody begging your ass to come over here.
You know how many times I sit on these live streams and as soon as I'm done, I gotta jump in my sneakers, put on my little jacket and run out there to the post office or UPS
Mm-hmm.
store.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
literally end the live stream and I'm out the door.
Yeah, you got to do that. Then you got to come home, cook dinner. Oh, and don't forget Loretta. She's demanding. She gonna get her time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I know Loretta be on you. I know it.
But yeah, some of these people are a trip for real.
This gonna be interesting to see how this go because they really questioning him about this thing with Harvard, and you hear all these as usual lies he come up with.
Like I said, True Royal, it sounds personal. And it sounds
Yeah,
personal the first time I heard him talking about it. I said, it's something strange about this whole thing.
yeah. You felt something um uh, um on that. Like I would, like we were talking before you started. Um like when no, I had mentioned to you when nobody didn't want to buy his daughter's clothes. So he wanted to step in and he basically I guess he thought he was gonna bully people to buy her little raggedy ass clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And
I know.
now I want to ask a question. Where is Elon, folks?
Probably off somewhere crying.
Yeah.
Probably off somewhere crying.
They said I said he's somewhere getting high. You know, he didn't double up on that stuff. But some channels I went to, they said when they let him know what was going on, that they were actively the last several weeks. I read it on Rolling Stone, really looking for somebody to replace him. He had a complete meltdown. Now, I had also read that he had begged his shareholders to give him a few weeks, and he gonna turn this thing around.
Yeah, but you know what? The plate, it was sinking so bad they couldn't wait. I mean, he's got to look at the reality of things, which I know he won't. But the bottom line, the company is hemorrhaging losses every single day. And nobody got time to wait for you to do something. They need to stop this from happening now.
It's nothing they can do to turn. We know,
Now,
like
because like I was telling everybody, this same thing happened to Papa John. Y'all remember when John Snatter made some racist remarks, and his board of directors had to get rid of him because people stopped for a moment. People stopped buying Papa John's. They brought Shaquille O'Neal in to replace him, and it turned around a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't say that same thing is going to happen to Tesla. It's no guarantee that's even going to happen. They could bring in a new CEO and he really can't do nothing.
Let's see. Elder Gilbert said, Lisa, you called this months ago. Yes, you did. She sure did. She was spot on. And remember also, she said things would be moving fast. It's moving lightning fast. I mean, it's crashing and burning. Damn. Ooh, wee.
No, I don't like Papa John's pizza. You know what it is? The sauce they put on. Now, me, when I eat tomato sauce, I like my tomato sauce to, I like it maybe a tad bit salty and that's it. They put too much sugar in it. It tastes too sweet. Sugar? I don't like sweet tasting tomato sauce.
Yeah, I've had it like that. I had some that they had roasted the tomatoes first. And that was kind of good, but I've been making my own pizza at home because I like real super thin.
Yeah,
I like super thin crust. And it's fun to me making it at home because
you do it too, and it's nice and it's fun. You can make it any way you want.
Yeah.
So, y'all, I do have to make an announcement from now on. When Friday and Saturday come, I will not be answering any more questions on my Etsy site. I get people sending me a flood of questions, and it's the Shabbat, and I don't want to be on there tied up answering questions. So I got an automatic message when you write me. It's going to tell you that I won't be back until a certain time. So, I will answer you, but you're going to have to wait. I'm not going to spend the Sabbath just sitting there answering questions all day. And people tend to do that a lot. I don't know why. Maybe they're not celebrating the Sabbath. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I can hear you loud and clear, and I'm saying that for a reason. I'll just cut it short like that.
Just get a message just letting you know I'll be back, and at a certain time, and I will answer your questions then. That's what I'm going to be doing Friday and Saturday. So it's best to hit me up Sunday through Thursday if you really want me to get back to you fast.
So some people think these are distractions, huh? No, this stuff is real. This is very real. And
True Royal, when Donald Trump and Elon were in office, there was a reporter asking them questions. And you know how they are. To Donald Trump, Elon is a victim. You know, he's a
Yeah,
victim.
I heard. Yeah, well,
Elon,
Trump is.
Donald Trump is a victim,
Yeah,
right?
he sure is. Uh-huh.
So Donald Trump made a remark, and I will never forget it. He made a remark saying, yeah, we need to look into who's talking bad about us out on social media. So in other words, they want to turn on people on social media for talking bad about them. I said, that's a tall order. There are, if not probably a good billion of people out here worldwide on social media.
And
So
trust
how
and
you
believe.
gonna get all of them that's talking bad about? Oh, you gonna get everybody, huh?
And trust and believe. Both of them be up looking on social media, seeing who talking bad about them.
But that's what he said. He said, next we need to look on social media to see what people are saying about us. So I know what he meant. Who's ever saying something bad, he want to go after them.
Yeah. All of this personal petty stuff, and that was brought up in that interview.
That can even be coming out of his mouth as a president.
He coming after people with, like that guy was saying, you're taking away their security clearance, and the his comeback, the other comeback, Biden did it.
No, and he also said they were corrupt. And I said, Donald Trump, your ass is corrupt.
Yeah, we got a criminal for a president.
True Royal, he think everybody's a worse criminal than him. He really believes that.
Yeah, he fixes his mouth saying that stuff all the time. Yeah, like I said, the dude is a trip. But you know, Trump likes to lie to himself too. That's why he got his supporting cast around him, and all. I just want to see how long it's gonna take for one of them to just crack and just say something. And all. And then another thing, you see how he got JD Vance working like a slave? He everywhere.
That's why JD Vance, you know what it is? JD Vance is doing the work that Donald Trump should be doing. And Donald Trump is sitting on his ass just writing executive orders and tariffs all day. And the footwork, which he is supposed to be doing, he got JD Vance doing it. And now I kind of understand why he picked a younger guy to do all the footwork and running around for him.
Well, I also think another component is Trump is afraid to be out there after these assassination attempts too. You know, it's a number of things going on. Something my daughter said to me that
I find that weird though. You know, he did a rally in Michigan just a few days ago. And I mean, I would think if you're scared to be in the public, why would you still be on stage doing rallies?
Well, I just yeah, that's true. But I really feel like overall he just don't want to be out there like that. Then also the reception that he's getting, he would have to be in a controlled environment where if everybody is
likes him, man. I mean, that's nobody likes him.
He's getting booed everywhere wherever he go. And then another thing, JD Vance don't agree with Trump. I told people that because he revealed some of that when they was over there, when Pete Hegseth was over there doing what he had no business doing. You know, I found out, I read an article that Trump had told them not to use that app or whatever they was using.
Signal, yeah.
Signal. And I'm really starting to think they didn't know what they was doing. So they just used whatever was easy for them. At all. And they didn't think that they was gonna get caught at it.
Get caught. You know, it happens to any president. Whenever you are in office, these reporters are going to look at everything you're doing with a fine-tooth comb, not just the president, but his cabinet too. They're going to always do that. and they're going to get called out on many more things before it's all said and done. It's going to be a lot more. But see, you know what the problem with JD Vance? JD Vance, and just from my observation, he got horrible people skills. He don't know how to talk to people.
No, he don't.
I have
No.
seen in the media where he's been overseas, and some of the folks were complaining about how he was, coming at them and just talking and how arrogant he was. He got terrible people skills, and I think that don't help either.
Yeah, I had listened to an interview. They had interviewed one of his first cousins, and his cousin had said since he's became vice president, and even before then, that he ain't been communicating with his family anymore. And I was reading in between the lines. His head then blew up over this position that he has. But yeah, he has a very nasty undertone, condescending, and I have also, like you said, when he go overseas, he'll go out of his way not to speak to some of the leaders in the country, go off in another room with people. And I said, you really in a vulnerable position. You're over in somebody else's country. You're being disrespectful, and nobody has to kiss your ass.
Right.
You really need to slow your roll.
He did that over in Great Britain,
and
then I think he had traveled to, I think, Germany. And they said he was arrogant. He was nasty. They didn't appreciate the way he was talking to everybody in the room. And I said, that's the big problem. Yeah, you got this younger guy running around, but he don't have no people skills.
Yeah. And then he don't even know what the hell is going on. Because the most laughable thing to me is the situation over in China. All these tariffs that's being thrown out, and the last that I checked, this country been owing China money since the 80s.
Right. China has been buying up the debt here in the US. Well, since Donald Trump put all these tariffs, and it wasn't just I found out it wasn't just China. They said Japan was doing it too. Japan was also buying US debt from what I was reading. And since Donald Trump put the tariffs on, China and Japan said they are not buying any more US debt ever again. This is it. They're not doing it anymore.
Well, another thing that this country has done, and this was done many years ago, they sold Pebble Beach to the Asians. And culturally, those people don't flip properly like that. They'll just stand on it. And I'm like, what, you sold Pebble Beach? Really? That was
Yes, I did see that, Gary Jones. Yeah, Trump administration seized all the farmland that belonged to China. Yes, I did see that.
What?
Yep, did. Oh, yeah. No. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Why do you think China is retaliating the way that they are, and our shelves are eventually going to? China said they ain't bringing nothing else over here.
Wow.
Okay. Until Donald Trump get rid of these tariffs, they said they are not sending no more ships over here. And they said the ports are empty. The ports literally don't have any ships coming in. And that's what China said. So, yeah, they're going to hear everybody over here crying about, oh, there's nothing on the shelves. But they said they are not sending another thing over here. Yeah, Donald Trump seized up all of their farmland in this country.
Wow. I can't
doing what they're doing.
I can't wait till the primaries come. I like to see how these folks gonna really be voting this next round. And all it's gonna be
stupid ass farmers. True Royal over on TikTok, right? I have heard some of these stupid ass farmers crying about how bad it is, in their farms, and they may lose their farm. You know, I've heard some of them still say, "Oh, I would still vote for Donald
Me
Trump."
too. I did. I did.
I don't feel bad
I
for
heard the
you.
same thing.
Go ahead and lose your farm. I don't feel bad for
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, I said that these people are um 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 a trip. Because how I look at it, I call it family. The side effects of because they got so many isms, is affecting now their immediate situation. Like you were saying, they get on a video, cry, I voted for Trump, I don't have a job, and their own family won't help them.
Yes.
And that's not like us. When our folks um, hit it hard, um, we help each other and
Mm.
all. You see
Oh
how
no.
they, but
Ocean Store, you're right. Walmart will be empty along
mhm.
with all of the retail giants. They're all going to be empty.
But you know what? I've been buying a number of things on Temu. Every
Mm.
time I go over there, Lisa, they got a sale.
Yeah. Oh no, you know, China is opening the door. You know, when they came out with the luxury purses, but
Mhm.
China was saying, y'all can get anything from us direct. Just come direct to us and we'll, you know, ship it over. You won't
Mhm.
even have to shop around in America if you don't want to. They'll send us
Mhm.
anything we want
Mhm. I just purchased
without the
a
middleman.
I just purchased a real nice air fryer.
Mhm.
And what I like about this one is dual. So you can cook two things um at once. And they were like about regular price. They were like around about 200. Um I got it for $42.
Mhm. I bought something over on Temu,
Mhm.
and it was like a natural stone. It was turquoise. It
Mm.
was a bracelet. You
Mhm.
know, I went on Amazon and that thing was like triple the price of what I paid.
Mhm.
I paid about 15 for it, right?
Mhm.
Over on Amazon, the thing was almost like $50.
Yeah. Um
The same exact bracelet.
Yeah, that's what happened to us a couple of weeks ago. We went to CBS Pharmacy to buy one of those blood pressure monitors,
Mm-hmm.
and this one you can put batteries in it, and you can also plug it up. Lisa, they were $100.
Yeah. Yeah.
We we got it for $19 and some change. So I told my husband we might as well just buy two of these jokers and just
Mm-hmm.
keep one in the box. So what I always check on Temu first, because they got it going on. Because I bought my grandchildren that live in Arizona. I bought three outfits for them and all kind of accessories and different things like that,
Uh-huh.
and all of that stuff came to it was like 140 something, and the
Wow.
quality, because the quality was amazing to me. I said, damn, I did good. Um, you know how, with kids, they, like they can bump their heads, and now you can buy those little plastic things to put on the corners of your tables and all like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then also you can buy those covers to put into your sockets and all. I bought like a bag of them. It was like 100 of them, and 100 of them was 92 cents. And then for the little things to put in the corner of your tables and all, I got like 50 of them, and it was $2.
Yes.
I said, damn. And
Mm-hmm.
and see, I was thinking, I didn't realize when I first initially was buying stuff, I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to wait forever
Oh,
in a
they're pretty
day.
expensive. Some of them got
Where
I know AliExpress, they got warehouses right here in the US.
Yeah. Do you know when you order from them, when you look at after you make your purchase, it'll actually show you what warehouse, uh, um, what town is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like one of them, they got one of them in Southern California,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then they got some up here too, and all. And I said that was real smart of them. That's why they're able to control the prices, because the
You
stuff
know,
is already over here.
I bought I wanted what I do when I do the patana oil and my butters and everything, I use a stainless steel bowl,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I got them off of AliExpress. You know how much one big bowl, I'm talking about a big one.
Mhm.
It was $1.74 for
What?
one stainless steel bowl on AliExpress. I kid you not. This was last
Wow.
year when I bought it. It was probably around this time last year. And that's
Mhm.
all it was, $1.74 for a stainless steel bowl. The
Well,
thing is huge too.
my husband been shot. I'm doing Temu and he's doing Alley, and Lisa, he done lost his mind. He been buying all these different sunglasses, and
Mm,
he been making a nice little profit.
yeah.
He been selling them to different friends and family members
Mm-hmm.
and all. And he said every one that he sell, he makes a $15 profit. And they've been some pretty nice sunglasses.
Yeah. So what I've been doing is when I bought the one, I had ended up buying 5 of those stainless steel bowls. And
Mm-hmm.
man, it was so cheap it wasn't even funny. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, if I would have bought this off of Amazon, it probably would have ran me at least about 20 bucks.
Damn, all kind of people shopping over there. Yeah, I've used that pay. It was something that I bought that was we bought a compressor, and I used the flex pay on that and all in the it was, I think it was about close to $300. It was a real good deal, because I'd be worried about these disasters and all. So if a person can't pay for it outright, that's what I like about that flex pay. You still gonna get your product. It ain't like back in the day. Remember, people would put stuff on layaway. You had to pay that stuff off before you could get it. They send it right to you, and they not taxing you to death on it. Um, and all. They are knocking Amazon out the park. I mean, I'm like you, Lisa. I was browsing, just looking at some shoes on Amazon. I said, they crazy what they charging over here. Go to Temu, they got all kind of stuff. Um, and then what I like is, maybe you'll just kind of just be looking around, looking at different things, and then you'll come back and they will save it, and then also they'll show other stuff in that same realm. I bought.
Yeah, they what they do is they buy from the directly from warehouses over there in China, and they're probably getting that stuff pennies on the dollar. They're not really,
Mhm,
when
mhm.
they get their inventory together, they probably ain't paying that much for it.
No, they not. No, they not. I bought my husband a velour sweatsuit. It's burgundy. The what I quality nice, real nice. Because I
Mhm.
said, how sometimes those pictures can fool you. It'll be looking all good, and then when you get it, the color be off, and I'm like, no, And then recently I bought these covers to put over my couch, and they're like um they just really, I would say, I don't know what animal that would be. It would feel like maybe like a rabbit. It really spruced up my living room. I bought 4 of them to
Mhm.
cover my love seat, my couch, and all and everything. It's really nice, and you can wash it too as well. You don't have to put it in the cleaners or anything. That was one of the best moves I ever seen, because
Yeah.
Amazon is too high. And another thing I noticed, they don't have a lot.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
the only thing I wear Amazon out is I like using they free trials um, to where, like, for a week you can get HBO or something like that, and
Mhm.
I just rotate it. I wear they butts out, because they hope you'll forget. Mm-mm. I'll check it every day, and watch me up a bunch of movies and stuff, and then a week or so later, another one is coming at me, and I notice it just rotates. But I
Mhm.
gotta go check out AliExpress, because I know.
You remember when AOL was a big internet that a lot of people used back in the day?
I remember.
And remember, they would send a disc almost like every week. I used to have a pile of them. I was like, damn, they send a new one in the mail every day. So anyway, you know what I did? I ended up getting that for free the whole time. You know how I did it?
Oh.
When one disc would expire, I would use another one with a different email. And I did that the whole time, and I never paid for it.
You know what? Do you remember this was like the last round when people were still having phones in their house, and these different phone companies would give you like you could get like a $200 or as high as a $400 check to change your phone service. They had to stop doing that because people would get it, and then then they would just change it.
Trump tried to say he was going to go after Temu.
Oh, please.
Yeah, but I haven't heard nothing else about it.
He just, I mean, come on now. You just going after everybody.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we over here dragging your ass. You know, your little slow son can't get into school. Now you're coming after Temu and all. But no, what I was trying to say, don't you remember back in the day when people used to do that with the phones? You could get a check and change the service. They had to stop doing that because I remember one of my cousins, she said, boy, this is working out real good. And I said, this ain't going to last for long. I have to admit it, I did it too. Yeah. But the other day on Temu, I seen a set, and I might get it, a set of cast iron skillets. And it was 3 of them, and I think 3 of them was like 50 something bucks. But they had, what I liked about it, they had like one that's real small, and I remember my grandmother had one where like maybe you can cook a little egg or something in it.
I got one like that.
Yeah, you got me a cast iron skillet. That thing is real nice. And stuff. But I gotta check out Allie because I never bought nothing over there. And you got a bowl?
Yeah. Every now and then I go over there. Now, you know, that's another good place if you want to get the luxury pocketbooks real cheap. They're another one you can get a good deal on, the same kind of luxury pocketbooks that you would see here in the US. And you can get them dirt cheap on AliExpress.
Where did you get, when you showed me a couple of weeks ago, that nice purse? Where did you get that from?
Temu.
Wow. That was that
sucker is 100% leather. It is. Smell the leather. It smells like leather.
Yeah, that thing is very well made. When you showed me that picture of that.
No, very well. Yeah, and it smells. The whole thing smells like leather. Definitely.
Yeah, go over there and check out them cast iron skillets. They on sale right now. And stuff. Like I said, I seen it yesterday, and I said, damn, every time I go over here, they got something, you know. And it's really it can be addictive because I'd be like, I ain't gonna get nothing else. I'm gonna get nothing else. And you know, one thing, because I know a lot about metals. It's better. It's not good to be using these newfangled pots and pans where they'll say you don't have to put any oil in it when you cook and all. Use only cast iron because those metals are toxic. I'm telling you something I know. Don't use that stuff. It's not good. Stick with, go back to the old school. And all. You don't know what they be laminating that stuff with. You really don't. So now he coming after them. So I wonder what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. It's deep. With Donald Trump, you ain't gonna never run out of something to post. That's for sure.
But he that upset. Oh, that's funny. Teflon burgers. That's funny. Yep, that stuff is toxic. messing around with that stuff.
The funny part is, I bet you that's what Donald Trump, if he does eat at the White House, that's probably all he eats.
They had two things, because I kind of missed it. Maybe you know about it, or somebody in the comment section. I had in passing, I had seen on the news, they was talking about Hershey's chocolate. It was something wrong with it. And then they was talking about the prices of McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That has gone up.
yeah.
I remember they showed the prices in New York. They said for a Big Mac meal,
Mm-hmm.
$18. I said,
Mm-hmm.
boy, I remember back in the day, you could get a Big Mac meal and it was like $5.
Yeah. Now,
That was it. But now $18 if you live in New York.
Check this out, Lisa. Yesterday, I was for about a half an hour, I was over there on Tasha K's channel. They was doing like a little singing contest. They had different people singing, right? So on her panel, she had two guys, and one of the guys was staying at a hotel. And he said, this is a really nice place. So he had got hungry, and he wanted to order, he said he was going to order something to eat. And he got to reading off that menu, Lisa. He a hamburger, to get a hamburger, French fries, and a drink. It was going to be $89.
That is crazy.
And he said French fries alone was $17.
Mm-hmm.
And he called the people on the phone, the front desk, and he said, are y'all serious? And they said it's because of the tariffs. I said, damn.
Yeah. I mean, you could see what when I was buying my supplies back in 2024, when I started, those 4-ounce bottles that I put the hair oil in, I could get a case of that, and it was less than $20. So I would just use $100 and just get like 5 cases, right? Now, because of the tariffs, it has jumped up over $10.
Damn.
For the same bottles.
That is high.
Same empty, it's just empty plastic bottles, y'all.
They don't even make no sense. That's what I meant to say. So about a month or so ago, we went over to this Mexican restaurant. They make excellent food. So we were going to order some burritos. And when they told us the price of those burritos, I said, we just go home to make it. $32 for 2 burritos.
Wow, that is outrageous.
$32. Now the rice, we got rice at home. You can, if you want to use meat or not in it, and I don't even use meat in mine, and all. But basically, you got meat, rice, beans, and they the little meat in it, and they said $32. Are you crazy?
Yeah, and and China said that they don't want U.S. chicken. They said, they said they got tired of buying it anyway. They said when you analyze it, like you take it to a lab, it got so many chemicals in it.
Yes,
they're trying to fatten up the chicken. So when those chickens start growing, they're giving them all kinds of injections and stuff.
Yeah, they
grow fat.
When my daughter was in college, she had did a term paper, and I read it, and I was shocked, Lisa. Some of these farms that grow chickens, that when they grow them, they don't have no head on it, and they have extra legs and extra wings.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about that.
I said, what in the hell?
Yeah, and you gotta look at everything is this place believes in so many things processed. Instead of eating it in its natural state. That's where I got a lot of hang up about. I don't like that. And China said they're, over in Australia, their chickens are grass fed, everything they give them is organic. And they said the chicken meat is way better than all this.
And they let them
in the U.S.
They let them roam free. I tell you something I seen that blew my mind. You know how they'll say that you can buy fish, and it's they grow it on a farm fresh fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had these tanks of all these different fish. Lisa, the water was so murky, and I said, these fish is in here eating they shit. This ain't fresh. The water didn't look clean.
Mm-hmm.
They
They
and they was
love
just
having those. They love having those fish. That's a fish farm. And
mm-mm,
they'll have like a bunch of tanks with,
mm-mm.
tilapia and salmon and all that stuff up in there. Oh, they love it.
And
All they
don't
do is just throw some food in there and that's it.
I
We'll get
remember
ready to catch them and then, get them ready for the supermarket.
speaking of tilapia, I remember it was what 7 years ago. My husband bought some tilapia. He baked it, and I was asleep, and he wanted me to eat. I hadn't ate all that day, and he didn't wake me up. You know what woke me up? The smell of that rotten fish. I said, "Don't bring that no more. That stuff is poison. Don't eat that stuff. Mm-mm. No way."
Mm,
Yeah, when you like we like salmon, we get it wild.
yeah, I like
Mhm.
wild caught, but yeah,
Mhm.
if it don't say wild caught, more than likely it was raised on a fish farm.
Yeah, I was astounded when
I remember
I
I
seen
saw
it.
this white guy, he owned one. And he
Mhm.
was like, "Oh yeah, I quit my job so I could do, fish farming." And he
Mhm.
kept pointing at the different. I mean, he had these huge, huge areas in the water that he had them in contained.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Boy, you can't even see through the water."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I seen the
They
one,
do it.
they and when I seen it on I seen it online, it was in a dark environment. It didn't get natural sunlight, and when they did show it, the water was kind of like greenish and kind of blackish. And first, I didn't even know it was fish in there, Lisa,
Mm-hmm.
and until they opened up the vats, and I said, "Oh, damn, it's fish in there." And all. And I said, "That's how they doing that?" I said, "I'm real
Yeah,
good." See
they
when
have them fish farms, and
Mhm.
they make millions of dollars having them, that's why they do it.
Yeah,
But yeah, they don't really take care of those fish like they should.
yeah, because they want that money. They
Mm,
want that stuff growing fast, and they want that money. And like you said, with the chickens, they shooting them up. That's why these kids is so damn overweight. I mean, you seeing little girls um at
and y'all
um
know you can't have bluefish, right?
I never heard of that
Y'all
one.
never had you can't have bluefish. Bluefish don't have any scales. I had a
Mhm.
friend, her father loved that's all he would eat. He would eat so much bluefish. But remember, in the Bible, if it don't have any scales, we're not supposed to eat it. Just
It's
like catfish. Catfish
yeah,
don't
it's a
have scales.
scavenger. Yeah,
So you don't eat those fish.
yeah, catfish has a period.
Yeah, and a catfish are ugly. Boy, them things are
Oh, yeah,
ugly.
they sure are.
I mean, those things get as big. Them suckers get almost as long as a car down there in the South. I remember when we would go down there and we would see some of those guys would go in the water. They go in the water and try to catch them by hand. And
Mhm.
those fish will bite your ass like you wouldn't believe.
They
And you can
will?
hear the guys screaming, ah, oh, ah, and then they'll come out of the water with a big one.
What?
Yeah, that's how they catch them. That's how they catch the big ones because they're
Mhm.
so big and heavy. They just walk in the water with those thigh high rubber, those rubber boots,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
they just reach down in the water and grab them, but they get bit up bad. Woo, them sucker, they fight. They are
Mm.
fighters.
Wow, that's amazing.
Hmm.
I never heard of bluefish.
Yeah, a lot of people around when I was growing up around me, they used to love bluefish. They said it was good, but it don't have any scales. And remember, if it don't have scales, you're not supposed to eat it. It's
Mhm.
unclean.
Only fish I really like is red snapper.
Yeah, red snapper is good. That's not
Mhm.
bad.
Yeah. And I
Now I
like
had one time I had orange roughy. I don't know if any of you had that. It was okay. I mean, the way this woman made it, it really didn't taste bad at all.
mhm. Oh, Lisa, I just wanted to let you know. Let me see here. I got it all pulled up. Let me see. 3 varieties. Um, let's see. This is the cherry farm. They got 3 varieties of cherries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also peaches and nectarines at Mike's farm. I
Mm-hmm.
will be, and it's about maybe like a half an hour from my house.
That's not bad.
So I'm gonna go pick it, and I will be taking pictures.
Oh, I love mahi mahi. Somebody wrote that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take pictures.
Yeah, and Ocean Soul, I know you in here. I'm getting Lisa back. She wrong. She wrong. I mean, she'll hurt your
Oh
feelings.
man.
She
Oh,
had
you
it.
love orange roughy? Yeah. This black woman made it. And the way she seasoned it, it was really good.
I've seen that. I've never had that fish.
That was the first time I ever had it in my life. And she had a little restaurant and
Mm-hmm.
she made it, and the way that woman hooked it up, it was very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't wait to go to that farm. And
Mhm.
they're only they sell the peaches, the nectarines, and cherries only $2 a pound.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Uh-huh. But
Mhm.
you gotta hit it just right, when it peak. Some people running down there right now, and
Mhm.
they just still looking kind of red. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get like maybe like 10 pounds of them jokers.
Yeah. But you know what, Betty? Yeah, I saw what you wrote. You
Mm-hmm.
said shrimp, crabs, and
Mm-hmm.
lobster unclean. And you know what? Add scallops. Scallops is
Yeah, they
unclean.
are too. Now,
That's another one that's unclean that a lot of people eat.
I see
Scallops
Lisa.
come out of a shell, so you can't have that.
Now, I see Lisa sitting up here ignoring me. She know um I'm gonna show these cherries off.
Yes,
It's
show the
okay.
pictures. Show the
Mhm.
pictures.
I don't know.
I love it. I
I,
love it.
I
I
said
I just hate that you can't get it year round. I wish y'all got it the same way we
me
do,
too. Yeah, and
year round.
Lisa, they do that. Like I said, they do sell it, but the quality of it is a joke.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
when I seen them, and these were some really decent stores. They look like they would look prickly, and I said I ain't never seen no damn cherries look prickly. So I taste one, I spit it right out. It was horrible. I
mhm,
said, how could somebody sell something that quality like that? What are they doing?
mhm.
And so I went to the organic section. That it was no different. And they
Oh,
was
okay.
selling them $8 a pound.
Mhm. Yeah, the ones they sell in the winter,
Uh-huh.
they come out of either Argentina or
Mm-hmm.
Chile. That's where
Mm-hmm.
they get them all year round. Because some stores you'll get it and it say it was from Argentina, and
Mm-hmm.
then other supermarkets it will be from Chile. It's either one or the other
Uh-huh.
that they sell
Yeah.
during winter months.
Well, we had got some a couple of weeks ago. We had got some Concord grapes, and they came from Peru.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to admit, over at Costco last cherry season,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, as soon as you walked in, them cherries was popping.
Yeah,
Um,
Jay's was like that around where I am, and
mm-hmm,
they were big.
mm-hmm,
Those cherries were big.
mm-hmm. I was wearing them out, and all. I live for cherry season.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm. Can't wait to
Yeah.
rub it in. I'm gonna get me some
Well,
yellow
my
nectarines.
uncle that lives down in Florida said they get everything, all the same fruits in the summer. He said
Mm-hmm.
down in Florida they sell the same fruits year round. You can get the big giant watermelons. He said you can get all of that year round if you live in Florida.
Now, them real big giant watermelons, they don't sell them in the stores. Usually, a Mexican will sell it out of a back of a truck
Hmm.
over in Oakland.
Now they
I
sell
don't
them out
know.
of the stores down there.
And the best ones are the Texas longs. Them are
Hmm.
some of the oh my goodness. Um,
My
yeah.
grandmother used to buy them because she had
Mhm.
10 kids, and what they would do is get three of them. So, you know, the family would have more than enough for all of them because it was my grandmother, grandfather, and their 10 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they would get those big, long watermelons. And they said it was
Good.
cheap and everybody could have as much as they wanted.
Now, do you remember as a child, Lisa, when they would buy the watermelons and they would cut it up and they would tell us kids to go outside and eat it because it would have a zillion seeds in it. And we
Mm-hmm.
would be standing there shooting at the seeds. Seeds is gone and all. Now, I know Lisa has had one. Has anybody ever had a pink pineapple?
Mm-hmm.
Because I sent you one. You know what? When
There's one place around here, True Royal, they sell smoothies with the real pink pineapple out of the pink, you know, yeah, they sell smoothies like that.
Um, those pineapples, Lisa, take 3 years to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all need to try them. They're a little costly, but I tell you this,
You
when I
know
got
who else got some good pineapples? Because I was looking, we know Hawaii sells, you know, a lot of pineapple. You know, the biggest place, the place that's bigger than them, Africa. When I looked online at them pineapples are huge. The ones they grow in Africa, I said, boy, I would love to get a hold of one of them. They way
yeah,
bigger than the ones I've seen out of Hawaii.
you're right. I was watching Mama Uganda, the woman that got like 30 something children,
Mm-hmm.
and this man went over, white guy went over, and he brought her food and all, and was interviewing her. And that evening, they cut a watermelon, and he said he don't even want to eat watermelon no more in America. He said it was so good. And
Mm-hmm.
when they cut it, it just cracked wide open, and it was just damn near like blood red,
Mm-hmm.
and all. Yeah, I'm serious. Some of y'all never
Oh,
heard of
yeah.
it.
If you ever get a chance online, take a look at the pineapples they grow in Africa. I'm telling you, they're like
Okay.
double, maybe even triple the size the ones
Mhm.
that you see coming out of Hawaii.
Yeah, that's like over in Turkey. Um, and,
Turkey, you
oh,
know what Turkey is good for? Pistachios. You know
um,
they grow a lot of pistachios out of Turkey.
another thing they're good for is pomegranates. You should see how huge they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're enormous. I didn't know that. I love pistachios. I got to check that one out.
Yeah, Turkey grows, they have the best pistachios. And yeah, they
Mhm.
grow a lot of pistachios.
Folks, when y'all get one of them pink pineapple, because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have to order it. You'll get a certificate with it.
Yeah, they're good. They
Mm-hmm.
are good.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even want I didn't even want to share it. Um, when I tasted.
Yeah.
But yeah, but my cousin lives in Hawaii, and I've never had the golden pineapples, but my aunt had one. She said they're very good and they're big. But I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
check out what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I said, boy, I wish I could get one of them and just have them ship it to me. I would love to try that. I bet
Mm-hmm.
you it tastes good. I
Yeah.
bet you it does.
Sometimes like when you got the produce, really big and and really good. Sometimes like if it's near like an active volcano, because the soil is very mineral rich. That's why they so great and all. Did you see over there, Lisa, that over in I forget what region of Africa it is, but it's splitting and a new ocean is forming?
Yes. I
I,
seen that. I seen that a couple of years ago. Yeah.
mhm. I was
Mm.
looking at that the other day. I said, "Look at that," um, and I mean,
They said it's
it,
going to form a new ocean. That's what
yeah,
it's actually going to do.
sure is.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I saw that.
Oh, over in Costa Rica, great pineapples, papayas, bananas, and mangoes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You know, one of my friends went over to years ago, went over to Brazil, and they brought me a lemon back.
mm-hmm,
Right? You know what our lemons look like in the store, right? I
mm-hmm.
kid you not. That lemon was almost the size of a damn football.
What?
I was like, what the heck? She was like, this is what they are in Brazil.
What?
That thing was as big as a football.
Mm-hmm. You
It
know,
was huge.
you know, and I didn't even pay trip off of it until my aunt mentioned it. She said, you notice now, like you get your citrus fruit and all, it
Hmm.
don't even have that strong citrus smell um any anymore. You know, one thing about Esau, they sure mess over a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
they mess over it, and the reason why everything looks so small because they don't let the fruit reach its full potential growth.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
They are so greedy when it gets to a certain point, they want to pluck them all up and sell them instead of letting the fruit, reach their actual
Peak.
size. You
Yeah.
know,
But you
so
notice
yeah,
when you go in the
greed.
store, when you go in the these stores, these commercial stores, um, all the produce look like it's all the same size. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
like going to farmers market. You know, you might get let's say you get some peaches. You're gonna have one small, one big, um, and all, but it's grown at its peak because the farmers market I go to, they wash up some of it and cut it, and you can sample they the different fruits, whatever is in season. And I mean, I live for like the nectarines and all. They really
Yeah.
are tasty. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everything will look all uniform and nice, but the quality of it is a joke.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then when I saw that lemon, it made me realize we do not get the best fruit, y'all. We do
no,
not get the best
this
fruit
this
here.
this
Mm-mm.
country, this country, what Trump referred to it as a shithole. That this country, um, like when it comes to things like that, what you're talking about, they have way better produce. When my daughter went to synagogue for 3 weeks, and she said every morning they get up in the morning, go to the marketplace, get what they gonna eat. They go twice a day. She said every the fruits, the vegetables, everything just tastes so good.
You know,
Um,
you know what I used to love when I used to visit my grandmother when I was a child. We would go down there every year in the summer.
mhm.
We would wake up. My grandmother would wake me up. We would have baskets. We would go in the barn and get the eggs. And I
Mm.
remember picking the eggs up. They were warm. They were warm. All of them were warm because the chickens were laying on them. So,
Do they lay them every day?
yes, yes.
Amazing.
My grandmother told me they laid 8 to 10 eggs per day.
What?
That's what she got out of her chickens, 8 to 10 eggs per day. She literally had to go out there every day. If she didn't do that, the chicks would start growing on the inside of them.
I'm gonna get me some chickens and hide them, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna be
it
selling
was fun.
chicken like crack
It was fun going out
eggs.
there. We would go out every morning and do that the whole time I was down there with her. We'd get up, put our
Mhm.
clothes, after I, took a bath and everything, we'd go in the barn, get the eggs, and I would just grab them, and every single one would feel so warm. They would feel so warm.
Well, I know it tastes different too.
It
Yeah.
was good. We would take it in. She would make a big breakfast out of it, put some of them in the fridge. But yeah, she got 8 to 10 eggs per day. She said, "Look, we had 10 kids. We had to do this. We
Yeah.
had to have
Yeah.
the chickens around. So you had the eggs and then you had the chickens for the meat,
Mhm.
and they had one
You know,
goat. My grandmother had a goat too.
I don't know if you experienced it, but when I was a child and go down and visit my relatives down in Texas, I remember distinctly. I was about 8 or 9. I get up in the morning. Oh, I can smell them cooking breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, one of my relatives, she bless her heart, she done passed on. This woman had fried chicken, cooking bacon and sausage, then made pancakes, grits, and all of this. And I'm thinking she, then cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner all in one. That was just
Wow. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was just
And
breakfast.
the thing is, that's why, down in the South, that's why they could make so many big, huge breakfasts because look, if you don't have to buy your meat because you're growing your chickens and you ain't got to buy the eggs. And my grandmother used to use the goat milk, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and so you got all of that free, plus the vegetables and everything they were growing. They got a lot of stuff out of their gardens for free that they didn't have to shop so they
Yeah.
would cook a lot. We would have these big dinners, and
Mm-hmm.
she spent a lot, and she really didn't spend that much on it at all.
That blew my mind. I'm like I said, I'm like, and my little self at the time, I'm like, wow, she cooked for the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, wow. I
It
mean,
was good.
yeah, it was what I loved was the homemade buttermilk biscuits. Oh, I
Mhm.
live for that.
You know,
Lord.
what I love was the water. Oh, that water was
Oh,
so
well
good. My
water.
grandmother had the well water,
Mm.
and I remember, y'all, it had a slightly sweet taste. And I was like, wow, the water in the city that I came from didn't taste nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
tap water and the water we were drinking, it didn't taste, but man, that water was, I could drink that water all day and all night. It was that good.
Yeah, it's like it has a Christmas to it, and then it has all the minerals in it. Some of it can even have a sweet taste to it. It's like
She had
up
a
here,
pump in her back. Did your grandma have a pump? She had the pump in her
yeah,
backyard,
they
and we
had
would
they had
pump. She did it good. My grandmother could get like a bunch of it flowing out of there.
mhm.
Us city folk, we didn't know how to do that.
They had one of them washing machines on the back porch where
Hmm.
you would run it through when you would rinse it and you run it through that little rollers.
Yeah, my grandmother had that.
That was a trip, and I mean, it would when you ran that joker through. I mean, they would squeeze the life out of a garment. It wouldn't have no water left in it.
And then take it and hang it on the line,
Uh
and
huh.
it would just smell so fresh. It would
Yeah,
smell so fresh.
yeah. Some of that stuff they would hang out. By the time you come to the end of the line, depending on the thickness of it, like the sheets and all, by the time you hang it, you come around, everything be dry.
Hmm.
And yet, it did have a different smell. It sure did. Um, but I remember one summer we went somewhere near a river and picked them Texas peaches. I ain't had no peaches that good in years.
Hmm.
Mm-mm-mm. That was so fun. We filled up the trunk of the car with peaches.
Yeah, we used to do that on our way back.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, a lot of black folks had fruits and vegetable stands. And so when you were driving through the Carolinas, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
Florida, it would be tons and tons. Back then, it was a lot of black people that would be alongside the road selling all their fruits and vegetables. So we would always stop at some of them and bring, oh, I mean, sweet potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
watermelon, string beans, greens. We would bring all of that back coming there. And it was just nice meeting some of those. They were all really nice. I don't think I
Mm-hmm.
met one that was nasty. They were very nice. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember one time we stopped, and it was a black woman and her husband, and they had a fruit and vegetable stand. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember before I left, she handed me some grapes, and those grapes were so good. She let me have the grapes for free, and they were good.
I
Very
remember
nice. I
um
wish it was like that now, y'all. That's one thing I do
I
miss
miss,
going down south. I miss
mhm.
seeing those black folks along the roadside selling their fruits and vegetables. You don't see nothing like that now.
The one thing that I liked was I'll never forget the lady. She was well in her late 80s. She would make apple butter. Lord, that stuff would be so good.
Hmm.
And
I do
all
miss that about the South. The South was really, it was nice visiting the South when I was a kid.
mm-hmm. You know, I like the freedom of it because I was a city kid and I could just run around out there in the fields and all, and didn't have to worry about the cars or anything.
Hmm.
Um, it was really fun, um, and everything. But even with all that food that they made, um, they would go out there and work out in they farm. Hardly nobody had no weight on them. They would burn that stuff up. They eat that heavy breakfast, and they would just burn it off, you
Hmm.
know. But see, they still eat like that down south,
Yeah,
but
and
people are not working
that's why
hard like that.
I used to laugh when these folks talking about some we're lazy. I said, when I used to go down in the South, I would see them folks working their butts off down there.
Our folks always have
That's
working
all
their
I
butts
saw.
off.
I ain't see no lazy. I see lazy when I look at them, though. I see plenty lazy then.
Mm-hmm. I didn't put grits up. I ain't had grits in years.
I have grits. I always keep grits around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. John L., thank you for the super chat. What Bog Mike said about the trucking industry is true. The money ain't the same. A few years ago on load that once paid 3,000, now
Mm-hmm.
800. Wow. Really, John?
Mm-hmm. That's what Lisa. That's what Big Mike was telling me
Wow.
yesterday.
That is a huge drop.
And he was saying it's these damn foreigners accepting them low prices, and then they want these black guys to go out there and accept that stuff. But then, like I was saying, they're not even getting a trucking license the right way. They buying them, and
Mm-hmm.
and they're having some major accidents out there on the interstate and stuff, you know, and cutting corners and all. It can cost people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And what gets me is we can't go over to their countries and cut corners like that.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're gonna be
I had read, if you went to China and you opened up a business in China, you
mhm.
can't open up a business unless one Chinese person is your partner. You know that? But
I've
when
heard of
they
that.
come over here, they can open up a business and completely shut everybody out.
They asses come straight to the hood, slap up a damn liquor store and all.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing they do over there, they will tell you where you're gonna open your business, and they'll say um foreigners, this is where they're gonna have their businesses. And when they refer to foreigners, they mean anybody to come over to their country.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they make it, and you can't just get a business right away. You be on a damn waiting list. And
Mm-hmm.
so they put you through. They make you jump hoops.
Yeah.
um, but it's just amazing to me that they want to sell our hair products to us, and they know to come right over here and to do all of that and
Yeah,
stuff.
I never go in their shops. There's a bunch of them around me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go in those Arab stores. I don't go in those Chinese stores where they got all them hair products and stuff. I don't
Mm-hmm.
go in none of them stores.
Well,
Mm-mm.
what I like I said, I'm doing like that's the beauty of the internet. Order, like you said, we don't have brick and mortar. Order it online. They
Mm.
can't stop it. They
Nope.
can't stop it, and they don't like it. That's one thing that I'm loving. I'm loving how we protested with our dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. It's certain things that they can't control.
No.
Mm-mm. You
Okay.
know.
Cornell Sly, thank you for becoming a new member. Monica Gregory, thank you for your support and your super sticker. Onika, thank you for becoming a new member. And Ocean Soul, thank you for I think that's a super sticker. I got the scroll. I got the scroll. Okay. Oh no, yours is a super chat. Walmart gonna be empty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think y'all, this is what I feel. I believe because we have gone through so many hardships
Mm-hmm.
up in this place. I really truly believe if anybody's going to be okay through it, it's going to be us.
Mm-hmm.
All of these other groups that used to having everything handed to them, they're going to have
Mm-hmm.
a meltdown.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, because like I said, we was born into this, and look at what they were born into.
Mm-hmm.
So they just, even though they lying about, that everything is a merit-based system and all, they don't know no other way to live by having the system rigged for
Right.
them. That's why they out here whining and crying
Yeah,
because they
you
don't know
can
no other
tell when
way.
you can tell when you listen to the videos. The Doritos were $7. My son loves, so I had to pay $7. No, you didn't.
No, you
You have to
didn't.
buy the damn Doritos.
You
And I said, see, they don't really use any common sense when they're shopping. And to me, sometimes you got to tell your kid, first of
no.
all, Doritos ain't good for you anyway. You
Yeah.
can get a more healthier snack that costs less money.
Mm-hmm.
Come
You know
on.
what's somebody had pointed out on their channel, you know how some of them women show them grocery overhauls that they be having, and they be showing all this junk that they be buying and stuff. Somebody pointed something out. They said go back over to the channel a week later, and then women will be over there complaining, oh, my son got a real bad cold and all. They said, yeah, they eating all that junk. In a week or so later, they sick. They said you looked in one person's refrigerator, you didn't see no fruit or nothing. Everything is packaged.
Well,
And
you remember during the pandemic, remember people were buying up the junk and the fresh fruit and vegetables was still sitting in the store.
Isn't that stupid?
Yeah, they did it during the pandemic.
When my kids was at home, I didn't buy that crap, Lisa. I would not do it. Nope. All of them, their favorite fruit was mangoes, and I would keep a bowl of them. I would keep a lot of fruit around them. Very little junk.
What they call it, nature's candy, right?
That's right.
Ocean Soul, thank you for the super chat. My mama told me you better shop around. You ain't never lied.
No. These people know what's going on. These people are letting these damn kids run their households. And stuff
tell them what they will and will not eat. You just try to sit up in my face and do that. Try. You will be eating nothing.
No, I know that's what my mother used to say. She said, just take your ass to bed then. That's how my mother would say it.
Now, I never complained about what my mom cooked. She cooked some good food, coming out of the South. Them women, they know how to throw down. The only thing, True Royal, I couldn't get past, they used to love beef liver. And I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't even do it in adulthood, y'all. I can't do it. And everybody else in the family loved it. I couldn't eat it. I just couldn't do it.
The one I can't do is okra. I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't like okra either, but
I'm not dealing with no okra.
Parents would eat that liver, and it actually smelled good. My mom would smother it with gravy and onions, and it smelled good, but I just didn't. I couldn't get past the taste. I just couldn't. And I'm sure I'm not knocking it. If you love it, you love it. Hey. Soul, Namibia deported 500 plus U.S. peeps and said, "Get the F out." A woman press. Google it. Okay. Get the heck out. Get the F out.
These let's see, what's that? Smothered in onions and peppers and gravy.
That's how the sisters cook in the South. They smother that stuff, and I'm telling you, it tastes great. And they make that gravy that they smother in from scratch. I ain't never seen them sisters buy no jar of gravy. They make that stuff from scratch, and it is good.
My mother taught me how to make gravy from scratch.
Yeah, I know how to make it from scratch too, and I know how to do it with no lumps in it.
Yep.
And the thing is, like I said, them sisters down there, they would hook that gravy up. Even I loved it as a child. I was like, darn, this is good.
Yeah. As a child, I would love me some gravy and mashed potatoes. Oh, Lord.
No, I'm sure it is. I just never acquired a taste for beef liver. I just never did. You know how it is. Like there's certain foods you just can't acquire a taste for. But I'm not saying it's good to other people. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, everybody got a different
taste. My parents loved it.
Yeah, everybody got a different taste bud. Another one I won't eat is tomatoes.
But you know what? True Royal, tomatoes are great in preventing prostate cancer. You know that? They tell men, they tell men to eat those tomatoes. because they are really natural things in that tomato for healing. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't eat a lot of tomatoes, but I mean, you're still eating it if you're eating tomato sauce. I mean, in a sense, you're still eating it,
No, I just don't like they just it's something about tomatoes. The taste of it is horrible to me.
My mother said back when she was little, that was considered a fruit.
Yeah, it is.
Tomato was a fruit, and now they got it labeled as a vegetable.
Yeah, even a cucumber is a fruit. It's in the watermelon family.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, if you sat in front of me and eat liver, I won't say a word. I'm not the food police. I'm not gonna sit there and I can't see how you. I don't do all of that at the table. We all got our preferences. Tomatoes and cucumbers, yeah, my dad did too. And them tomatoes got big. Them suckers got huge. Yeah, summer fruits and vegetables they're good.
Tomatoes and avocados. I make a great guacamole. White folks make guacamole with mayonnaise.
Ew. Oh, don't tell me that.
They do, Lisa.
Don't tell me that.
I don't like mayonnaise.
Woo, please don't tell me that.
I know how to hook it up.
Now, I don't eat it, but other people in my home eat it. So what I do is I buy the olive oil mayo. So it's not the regular one. I buy the olive oil mayo, and it's more healthier.
You know what? I remember when I was a child, I used to see old folks. They would get they would keep the corn, the cornbread, and then they would warm it up a little bit and pour some buttermilk on it and go to town. And they would what do they call it? Mash.
I used to love some things you like to watch your mother do when you're a kid. I used to love watching my mom make cornbread, especially put it in that cast iron skillet and then it cook on one side, and she would just flip it. She flipped it perfectly every single time. It cook on the other side.
They can work it, can they, Lisa? They can work it. I have all of my mother's pots and pans and grandmothers. When they passed, that was the first thing I went for. I said, I want all of their pots and pans.
Yeah, I have my mother's too, but I used to love watching her flip that, the cornbread.
Well, my mother would make the hot water cornbread.
Cornbread. Yep, I like that too.
I don't know how to make it. She would try to teach. She would try to teach me. I didn't want to learn. I did not want to learn. Boy, my mother could make some hot water cornbread. And it would just be slightly sweet, this ever so slight. My favorite meal was just cabbage and hot water cornbread, and I would be good.
Yeah, and you know what I like too. Back in the day, Louis Farrakhan used to always say, "Eat beans," because beans will give you longevity. And he was one day talking about navy beans. A lot of the people in, the Nation of Islam, they eat a lot of navy bean. And I was like, really? One day I tried it. Oh my God, True Royal. It was so good. One of the Muslim ladies let me try it. It was they hooked those navy beans up.
Yeah, they could.
Are delicious.
I used to go over to the Muslim bakery in Oakland. They closed down. I don't know what the Muslims do. They make the best fish sandwiches, and they don't fry it.
And I used to buy their bean pies. Oh man! Every time I would see them out there selling them, I would buy one of their bean pies.
Yeah, my husband loved those. But what I like was they would even bake their own bread too, as well. But them fish sandwiches would be on point.
Yeah.
I
said, Muslim, y'all know how to hook up there. I said, I have never tasted navy beans that taste like that. That was the best I've ever had. Okay, Ocean Soul, you said my grandma made cornbread daily, and that was the best. Yeah, we always had some kind of homemade bread with our food. You know,
Yeah.
see, our people had to do those kind of things.
Survival.
Yeah, you know, because in the South, they tried to keep them in poverty. They went out of
Mhm.
their way to do that to them folks.
Yeah.
There.
No.
The
If I
only
make
thing you could get is domestic work. Well, you ain't gonna ever have any good money doing that. That's what they
well,
did to our people. In fact, it was do you know it was illegal for you to refuse to do that work? You know that?
what?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, these people got a nerve.
Yeah. After slavery, you couldn't even say, no, I ain't coming in there to clean your old raggedy house. Yeah, they
Mhm.
made it almost illegal for you to turn it down.
Well, you know what tickled me when you was telling me a while back, and I'm just pretty much paraphrasing, when drama started in white people's houses when the black woman left and said, I ain't washing your toilet no more. I ain't dealing with your little bratty ass kids. And then he started looking at her like, you're gonna have to take care of her, take care of her. And there's been drama in their house ever since.
Mhm.
That's why you see that white woman in there with everybody got to take a bath and at the same water. And she got, I mean, that woman thought that through. I
Yeah.
ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. I'm
Yeah,
like,
my grandfather did sharecropping, and actually my grandmother did too. On my dad's side, she used to work with the chickens on the
mm,
farm. She told me that's what she did. Her job was to work with the chickens. And
mm,
that's what she did. She would, collect the eggs, slaughter the chickens, cut them into parts, package it, and that's all she did. And my grandfather, he used to work with the hogs. That's what he did. A lot of people were out in the fields, doing the vegetable. My grandfather used to work with the hogs.
so you just came from the dentist. You're gonna have to eat some soup, huh?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Woo.
Lord. Mm.
And I can't stand when your mouth is numb.
Mm.
Yeah.
Feel like your face the blue, feel like one side of your face the blew up.
One time I was kind of thirsty and I had went to the dentist and I went in the fridge and got some lemonade and the shit was running down the side of my mouth and I couldn't even feel it because I was numb. I couldn't feel it because my mouth was numb. Oh,
I
that was
know
funny.
I had a funny experience the first time I got my pupils dilated,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't listen. The doctor told me go straight home. You know, he gave me these little lenses, throwaway lenses to put in my glasses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, what I do, I'm gonna run to the grocery store real quick. You should have seen. I was walking up to all the stuff real close. What is that? Trying to pick out different stuff. Boy, that was a horrible experience. No, when you get your pupils dilated, go home
Yeah,
and
I
close
did.
your
And I went
eyes.
home. I went home. I did go home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
drink
Yeah.
coconut water to
Oh, okay.
restore
I saw
the.
somebody else said their grandfather worked with hogs. Yeah, my grandfather, I knew all of them. I knew all of them. There was one boss pig.
Boss
And
pig.
yep, well, they called him the boss pig because he would mate with all of the females.
The
You only
studs.
need one male. You only need one male and a bunch of females, and he'll
That's
mate with
shameful.
all of them. And they
He,
call him the boss pig.
that's shameful. Lord have mercy.
So if there's other males born, they get castrated. So they
What?
can't mate. Yep, they castrate them. And they call them barrows. So they can't really
Mm-hmm.
mate. They're just a pig. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
only one pig to mate with all the other pigs. And if any males are born, they get castrated.
Lisa, you know what? When
Because
I
if
was
you don't castrate them, they're going to start fighting each other. Males will fight each other over males and they get all territorial. So that's why
they,
they
be,
don't do that.
they become eunuchs.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it's
know
a
what?
shame, but that's what they do.
When I was working with those Mexican guys, sometimes they would bring to lunch bull balls to eat.
Yeah. You ever see bull balls?
No, I've never
Oh
seen
my
it.
God. True Royal, go online and
No, I
look at
don't.
the bulls. Those bulls are bigger than a damn car. They are huge. And
I
I was looking at some the other day that they were showing, they were show bulls, where
mm-hmm,
they took them to different shows and they would win awards and stuff.
mm-hmm.
This one guy had three. He had one that was all black. That sucker was they said he weighed a ton.
Mm.
He weighed a ton, and that thing was big. He towered over this man.
Oh.
And then he had another one that was like an amber color.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these bulls were massive. I mean, they were huge.
Oh, Lord.
And
Yeah.
you know how they do it in the South? The regular cows, those are all females.
Mm-hmm.
The bull is the one that mates with all of the cows. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was watching my grandfather do it, they had a bunch of cows. They brought in these two big bulls,
Mm-hmm.
and they would do that once a year. They would bring these bulls in to mate with the females.
Mm-hmm.
And these bulls they were like twice the size of the regular cow, the females.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they would do. And then they would put them away. And they got when they go into heat, they got a
Mm-hmm.
horrible temperament. The
What?
bulls, ooh, they got a terrible temperament when they go in heat.
Yeah, I know
And
somebody
they
was
don't fight
telling.
each other. If you put them out there around the females, they won't even pay attention to the females. They be fighting each other. Because they're in heat. Yeah. They don't even be paying they don't even be looking at the females. They be trying to beat each other up.
They all bothered and stuff and ain't trying to mate. I
Ooh,
know
they
my
eventually stop and they do start mating with the females. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, them sucker. I'm scared of them things. I ain't gonna lie. When I saw how massive they are, I'm scared to be around them bulls.
Well, it blew my mind. Them Mexican guys would bring a pig balls to work, and
Mm-hmm.
they would, I don't know how they would cook it up, and then they would slice it and make sandwiches out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
cool.
but the whole pig is edible. They eat everything.
Nah, I'm cool.
Near me, I'm cool too. Even the pig.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, but
mm-hmm.
no, I can't. Even
But
when I was eating pork, I would just eat certain things. I
mm-hmm,
would not be eating some of the other things on there, like the chitlins. I
mm-mm,
I had chitlins before, but it
mm-mm,
was just not. Some things I would not eat off of that pig.
mm-mm. But my grandfather was telling me
I would eat the
when
tongue.
when those bulls would mate, they said sometimes they would put them like in a stall, and they would put him in the stall, put her in there, and they would have to control the mating because he would damn near attack her, and
Yeah,
they
but
would.
it's best to do it. See, it's best to do it and just let them all be outside, because all of them can kind of spread out,
Mm-hmm.
and it's much better if you do it that way. Yeah,
That's
I
that's what
remember
happens. That's what happens with gorillas. I was watching a documentary,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the males. They call them silverbacks, and he'll be mating with all the females, and the young ones, they have to keep their distance, but they still be inching close, real close.
Mm-hmm.
And when his behind get old, they eventually say you got to go, and because it's time for him to mate. They don't be playing.
But no, whenever I saw bulls mating, they would just be outside,
Mm-hmm.
and they would just do it all outside. They said it was better to do it that way. That way they
Mm-hmm.
could all move. The bull could move around from one female to the next.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be mating with if there's 10 females, his ass will be out there trying to mate with all 10.
Wow. That's,
Yeah. And they said
that's
that way they can move from one female to the next female. It's better to do it outside. Let them do their thing outside.
yeah, that's what the most promiscuous animal is, a bat. He'll mate with like 100 females, less than 20 minutes. I actually seen a portion of it on a documentary. They'll be up in a cave, and they it's just amazing what white folks will film
Mhm.
and all.
Yeah, it is. But y'all, one bull, you know why people got bulls? One bull, when you slaughter that bull for the meat, you can get $100,000 from one bull. Did y'all know that?
Yeah, I didn't know the cost of it.
Because the bull is just so, he's like twice the size of the regular cow, right? So when you slaughter that, is so much meat you can get from them. You literally can get $100,000 from one bull.
Well, my uncle was telling me, because he lives down in Texas, he said when they would slaughter either a bull or a pig, he said that you can rent these refrigerators and you can get the cuts that you want, and a family would just share it, and pay the cost, and they didn't have to be ripping and running back and forth to the store, and they had meat for the whole year.
Yeah, True Royal. You ever smell what it's like to slaughter a pig?
No.
I did. When we were down south, someone around the corner from where my grandmother lived slaughtered a pig. It smelled up the whole neighborhood. I kid you not. It's when you slaughter a pig, it stinks so bad. And I was like, because I went outside, I was like, what's that smell? They said somebody slaughtered a pig. And now, that's why they stopped allowing people to do it, because it would smell up the whole neighborhood.
That's how unclean it is. Damn.
That smell is awful.
Wow.
And after a while, they had town ordinances that you could not slaughter a pig.
Yeah, that makes you, yeah. I know because my grandfather, he said what they would do, before they would slaughter one, he said they would feed it corn for like a week. And he said the corn was supposed to clean it out, and all.
But I think what they do to goats is mean. You know what they do to a goat?
What?
The whole time the goat is alive, they rub the knife around its neck.
What?
And they keep doing that. They just rub the knife around the neck, not cutting it. So when they go to slaughter it, it won't move, because it thinks you're just going to just rub the knife around its neck, so they don't run.
Oh, that's cruel.
Because they're used to feeling the knife. That's what they do to them.
Poor thing, Lord.
I tell you, that Southern living, boy. I mean, it was fun to go down there, but I didn't think I could do that all the time. I can't do it all the time.
Wow. Well, lately,
you know where they got a lot of goats? Jamaica. Ask those Jamaicans. They're gonna tell you just what I'm telling you. That's what they do to them goats. They'll tell you, because they do it too. They got a lot of goats in Jamaica.
Well, you know how sometimes you get tired of watching all these the news. It's just always something traumatic. So lately, late at night, I've been watching these videos where people then rescue like kittens. And the other day they had it was a calico little girl. This cat was tiny, and she went and found somebody. She got to screaming and hollering at this woman, and it was like, you're gonna take care of me and all. So they went and bought her a little bottle at the pet store. That little cat, every 4 hours they had to get up and bottle feed her, or she would get to screaming. She didn't even have her teeth. And they said what happened was she got lost in a storm. And it was like a half an hour just showing you the journey. And then another cat I seen, the person, this was over in China, they was at the stoplight and a little kitten just jumped in the car and started screaming. So they just took it home and took care of it. But what's the thing that blows my mind? Do you know them people over in China will chain a cat to a building, a post, a tree? I never seen such a thing. You'll see people do dogs like they do cats like that.
Especially big dogs over here, it's cruel. What the family does, if the dog gets, too big and they don't want it no more, they'll throw him out in the woods and just leave. And sometimes they leave them tied to a tree in the woods.
Well, there's a lot of videos on YouTube of cats like off the interstate just chained up to a tree. And they have these They have these, I guess the estate sancient. They have these people throughout the little townships that look for them and rescue them. And I mean, they take really good care of them. It's amazing. I said, thought I seen what I seen, a damn cat chained up to a tree. And I mean, it was a big chain, and they was all bruised up and cut up. And one of them, she had kittens. The kittens had sense enough to stay there with his mama, but they were starving to death. I said, wow, I never seen nothing like that. Chained up cat. Yeah, that is horrible.
Mm-hmm. You just wish that if you are not going to keep the cat and, and let them stay with you until they're gone, then, then why bother?
Mm-hmm.
That.
The other day, I seen a video where this sister was sitting in her house, and she seen a head moving around her window, and it was a little boy. He was a half breed, a handsome little boy. He looked like he was no more than about maybe 18 months. He had on one sock. He had cigarette burns all over his back, and she called the cops, and the paramedics and stuff came, and that baby, he was smart. He wouldn't found somebody and all. I was like, wow, this poor little baby running around out like that. And you know what the cops said? They told this sister that it is not unusual for a lost child to come to somebody's house and people will just close the door on them and leave them out there.
You know what? Just another woman. I kid you not. When I was growing up, there were some Koreans that lived behind us, and every single year they had a different dog. And my dad swore up and down they were eating them dogs because every year they had a new German Shepherd. And it was like, why do they keep getting these new? Yeah, every year. Wow. And we was like, okay, well, what happened to the other one? My father swore up and down them folks were over there eating them dogs. I said, you know what? I would not doubt it now. Now that I'm, more older and mature, and I would not doubt it.
They just shut down a restaurant just recently somewhere in the United States. They were serving people dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad swore up. He was like, they eating them dogs. That's what they're doing. And then they would have another German Shepherd puppy. It was like, well, what happened to the other dog? Yeah. That's what he was saying. My dad said they in there eating that dog. That's what they doing.
Yeah, they ain't eating the family pet. Lord, that is terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. It is terrible. Well, if you ain't gonna love the cat or love the dog, then don't bother getting it. Yeah. Don't bother getting it. Leave them alone.
Well, I got a spoiled cat. She is pampered around here. We got her on a diet right now. She's so fat.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much. Here, the guy that count my minutes. I hope this was gratifying for you. I hope this was gratifying for you. I was on for a long time.
Oh, I wanted to say real quick. Thank you, Monica, for your donation. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. All right, y'all. Please have a wonderful day. Thank you, True Royal, for being on the panel, and shalom to everybody in the chat.
All right, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Our shade to the royal family.